Lesotho will welcome pupils from the Windmill Park Secondary School in Ekurhuleni today to assess the first day of school. Jabulile Mbata has more.
The Department of Basic Education says the number of unplaced learners largely consist of grade 8s, while those in grade 1 will all be allocated schools by the end of this week. The rising population of people in the province has contributed to the lack of space in schools. Parents in various parts of the province have been standing in snaking queues in schools and district offices to check their application updates. The department has committed to building makeshift structures to help accommodate those who remain unplaced. Jabulile Mbata, Eyewitness News.
Former Acting Police Commissioner Khomotso Phahlane will be the first witness to face Parliament's ad hoc committee in the new year when he gives evidence today. Phahlane can expect to be grilled by the ad hoc committee that's investigating police corruption over decisions taken during his tenure as the country's top cop between 2015 and 2017 before he was suspended. The ad hoc committee resumes its hearings after a lengthy recess following the explosive testimony of businessman and attempted murder accused Vusmuzi Ket Matlala in November last year. Babalondenza reports.
Khomotso Phahlane, the former acting national commissioner, served from October 2015 until his suspension in June 2017. While his role in the highest levels of the police ended 9 years ago, he still remains a central figure in high-profile investigations that involve police corruption as well as political interference. His testimony will center around claims that there was an agenda to remove him and interference in investigations involving police watchdog IPID. Phahlane is no stranger to controversy and was dismissed from the police in August 2020 due to a 2014 contract for the purchase of panoramic cameras during his tenure as the police's head of forensics. Last year, Phahlane returned to the Labour Appeal Court in a bid to declare his dismissal from the police unfair. Phahlane's evidence will be followed by the testimony of Crime Intelligence Head Dumisani Khumalo tomorrow. Babalondenza, Eyewitness News.
And Iran's government says the US is seeking to manufacture a pretext for military intervention after President Donald Trump threatened strong action over the deadly crackdown on mass protests. Iran's UN mission posted on X saying US fantasies and policy toward Iran are rooted in regime change with sanctions and threats. Iran says Washington's playbook will fail again. Trump cancelled all meetings with Iranian officials and has told protesters to take over institutions amid Tehran's crackdown. Trump told Iranians that help is on the way without offering further details. He has openly contemplated ordering military attacks on Iran over the last several days.
To all Iranian patriots, keep protesting, take over your institutions if possible, and save the name of the killers and the abusers that are abusing you. You're being very badly abused.
Gold is trading at $4,578.81 an ounce. The rand is at 16.41 to the dollar, 22.05 to the pound, 19.12 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $63.87 a barrel.
In the traffic in Clement, there's slow-moving traffic on Bremer Street. This is between the Van der Wharf and Darksport Tunnel. Look out for faulty traffic lights in Sandton at Greyston Drive and the M1.
And in your sports, Manuel stars once again for Man City as they beat Newcastle 2-0 in their Carabao Cup semi-final first leg. Man United confirmed Michael Carrick as their new head coach for the remainder of the season, and Henk Latergan drops down to 4th after struggling on stage 9 of the Dakar Rally.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with isolated showers and thunder showers expected. Johannesburg starting at 15 degrees, peaking at 26. Pretoria 17 and 28. Vereeniging 16 and 29. The top story in EWN this hour. As today marks the first day of the 2026 academic year, some Gauteng pupils will have to be temporarily placed in schools because of capacity issues.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
On 702.
Let's walk the talk.
6 minutes after 6 o'clock, welcome to 702 Breakfast. My name indeed is Bongani Bingwa. Thrilled to be in your company for the next 3 hours. Wherever you're listening to us from, welcome to the program. On our menu today, we look at things Africa Cup of Nations. Nigeria is vying for a place in the semi-finals. They're up against it. The Pharaohs are still there. Nigeria didn't even qualify through the normal qualifying route, but there they are. We're going to catch up with our 947 colleague, sports broadcaster extraordinaire Robert Marawa is going to be talking to us about what is going to happen next in the AFCON Cup. That's, of course, going to be the Africa Report. So we don't always focus on the doom and gloom on the continent in the Africa Report. We'll chat to Robert Marawa about that in the first hour of the show. And then lifestyle audits. I spoke to somebody who's been through one, and she told me they are rigorous. They want to know everything right down to that pair of red bottom shoes as to where you got the money for that painting, for that book, for that bookshelf, for that bedspread. 9,000 lifestyle audits have been conducted, but we're told only 24 cases have been flagged for serious investigation. Are they rigorous enough then? Or is it that those who've got ill-gotten gains have become too skilled in hiding them? We speak to the Minister of Public Service and Administration.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
On 702.
Let's walk the talk.
We celebrated the class of 2025 just yesterday, and of course, now that all of that is out of the way, the next thing that is on many families' minds and many learners' minds is what next, where to study, what to study, and which institution. We're being warned by the Department of Higher Education, be careful of bogus colleges, because if they're not registered, you are paying for a bogus qualification that the marketplace will not recognize. We'll speak to the Deputy Minister of Higher Education just after 8 o'clock about that. And then, of course, it is a Wednesday, so another corporate that cares. Today, we're speaking to the Group CEO of the Red Bank, ABSA. Kenny Fihla will be talking to us about why ABSA is a corporate that cares.
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
702 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
I feel like I must be the worst parent on the planet. I must be the worst parent on the planet. My youngest is now going into grade 11 this year. So I didn't really think I needed to be there to hold her hand for the first day of school. I did phone her just before I went on the show, and I sent her pictures of when she was much younger. We had a bit of a chit-chat about that. But I am here, and what that means is almost every other member of the team that you regularly hear isn't, because, of course, they're focused on much younger little ones and taking them to school. So, producers Bapelile and Ropfiwa are here, taking your calls and screening your calls. And we've got Karabo with all the social media stuff. He finds all the videos and pictures with all three of my chins to post. He's not get me. Palisa is here to start the clock. Khubuzo Munyai is here in place of Amoramela because, of course, it is the first day of school. So welcome to 702 Breakfast. You've produced for the show before.
I have.
But not quite on air in the way that you are. So you'll be guiding us through traffic on this very big first day of school.
It is a big first day, isn't it? Yes, I will be guiding you throughout the entire morning.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Muteo Horipe is also out because he's a good parent. Welcome back, Nokanya Mdambo.
So hard to defend you, Bongani. You have no reason to be here. So hard to defend you. In fact, when I walked in earlier, good morning, to the 702 Landers as well. When I walked into the newsroom earlier, Sfiso...
So that's why you said, why are you here?
I said, why are you here? Sfiso immediately said to me, what's going on? Is everybody sick today? And I said, no, it's the non-parents' day today.
Wow.
Everybody you see in the building, anybody you see in the building at this time,
Is
non-parent.
Well, so or at least they've got older kids, right? Cindy Peluta is also out, so Anthony Teixeira returns. But we're going to have a fantastic show.
Also
we're going to have an absolutely great show. And to kick us off in that vein, I've got a question for you. You know the expression, on a wing and a prayer. Have you been, and it's immaterial whether you believe in these things or not, but have you been in a scenario where you were so desperate you thought, what the heck? And you went and consulted either, I don't know, a tarot card reader, a fortune teller, some kind of medium or psychic or spiritist or even healer or prophet, that kind of person? Have you been? And did it work? On a wing, on a prayer, perhaps you wanted something, you were going for a job interview, you wanted that tender, you wanted that business deal, maybe you wanted the proposal, whatever the reason that drove you there, you went there, and did it work? Have you been? No, Kanyam Tambo?
A desperate situation, no, not so much. But I do believe we are in a world where other things exist. So quite not on my own. I have been to
consult.
Yeah. So, I mean, at home, it's something that they do quite often. And so, to accompany my parents, I have been, and I am always quite interested to hear what is said. Do I always believe it? Not always. Do I think there is some merit to some of the things that I've heard? Absolutely.
Humuzo?
I have a particular grandmother who believes very much in a particular pastor whose name I cannot mention because he is in trouble. And
might be a fugitive from the law.
You know what I mean? I don't want to get kicked out of the family WhatsApp group.
Maybe a wanted somewhere.
So, and she for years has been going to that particular person. And I remember a specific incident where she went to that person and was told that if you want marriage, all you need to do is to bring a 5K and we will pray for your index finger. And listen, you will meet your knight and charming in a matter of like a year. It's been...
And?
It's been a while.
Is there a return policy for the 5K?
Unfortunately, well, not anymore. I mean, where we're going to find it?
Is there such a thing as the spiritual ombudsman?
We should fashion
the spiritual ombudsman. I'd really love to know, do you consult, whether it's, spiritists, mediums, psychics, spiritual healers, people who can access other realms? And have you gone there not believing and been pleasantly surprised? Or is your tale a story of woe?
Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
14 minutes after 6 o'clock. Today, of course, marks the first day of the 2026 academic year. Many Gauteng pupils still have not been placed. We understand because of capacity issues. There's an estimated 3,000 grade 1 and grade 8 learners who remain without placements in high pressure areas. The other story I want to pay some attention to is exactly that one. I want to know from you, if you're a parent who is struggling to have your little one placed at a school, particularly for grade 1 and grade 8, do give us a tinkle on 011 883 0702. You can also send us a WhatsApp voice note on 072 702. We want 0702 702 1702. We want to know what troubles you are experiencing in getting your little one placed, but we're continuing to receive complaints from people who say they've not been able to have their little ones placed in schools, particularly for grade 1 and grade 8. We're often told, of course, by education officials that you will not necessarily have your little one placed in your first school of preference. And that's where sometimes things go a little awry because people insist it'll only be that school and no other. So perhaps people need to be a little bit more circumspect about what is possible. But if you are having a genuine complaint, perhaps the system hasn't worked in your favor, we do want to hear from you because, of course, as I say, we will be speaking to the Department of Education about that one as well.
Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.
As is tradition, 16 after 6. Nokanya Mtambo, you've got a question of your own?
Yeah, really simple one, Bongani, this morning. What do you look for in a car? Is it about the aesthetics? Is it the brand name? So you weigh whether it's a legacy brand or one of the up-and-coming brands that you've been influenced into. Is it functionality or is it the price point, which I think is a very big one?
I think it could be a combination of all of those. Price point obviously matters. The legacy brands one tends to feel a little safer with in terms of the reliability of the car, in terms of the availability of parts, in terms of the responsiveness of the brand, and generally faith in the vehicle itself. You think, okay, this is a brand that's well known. I'll be safe in it. Certainly my family and my loved ones or people who will regularly travel with me in the vehicle will be safe until, of course, they let you down. I've been struggling since probably mid-December.
Yeah.
I need to change my tires. I can't find the tires for my car.
Okay.
I've been struggling. I've gone to all the tire places. I've gone to the Legacy brand dealership where I got the car. And I've been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. I'm driving around with a little biscuit thing because...
You biscuit.
Yeah, no. So my next car is coming from Beijing.
Are you on the market?
No.
Okay.
This will be in about 2030.
Okay. Komoto?
Affordability, absolutely. Aesthetics. I mean, I have to look cute while driving it, please. And I mean, I've only just started shopping for, a car like now recently. And those are not some of the things that I looked out for, like your legacy, reliability, Usually when you look out for a car, you're just like, does it align with who I am or my brand? But now as I get older, I realize it's not just that. So definitely,
You see,
don't judge me.
I'm not judging. I was about to say to Kanya, you see, I am a parent after all. Safety is an issue.
702.
Weather.
What conditions can you expect on this Wednesday, the 14th of January? This EWN weather brought to you by Samsung. Rain or sunshine, choose your temperature with Samsung air conditioners. It's a partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with isolated showers and thunder showers expected. Temperatures in Johannesburg, a low of 15, a high of 26. Pretoria, 17 and 28. Vereniging, 16 and 29, a low of 18 in Cape Town, peak of 28 degrees. Gqeberha peaks at 29, East London 30, Durban 31 degrees.
At the break of day, the shoreline hums with promise. A cool breeze drifts across the sand. Children laugh in the distance, umbrellas bloom brightly, and the horizon glimmers with ease. It feels lighter here, fresher, as if summer has been redefined. That's the power of Samsung air conditioners in your home, where innovation meets serenity. Make every day a cooler, smarter summer. Shop at Samsung stores online or speak to your authorized installer.
EWN Traffic.
It's 19 after 6. This EWN traffic brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Khumutso Munyai is in the hot seat today. It's the big day, opening of schools. It's certainly going to get busy a little later on.
It is indeed, Bongani, but right now it's fairly quiet, actually. But, that won't last very long. In Pretoria, actually, in Clement, traffic seems to be heavily backed up on Bremer Street. This is between the Darksport Tunnel and Van der Hof. So if you can, please just exercise some patience as you head towards there. Look out for faulty traffic lights as you head into Sandton. This is at Grayston Drive and the M1 North. In Paulshof at Main and Witkoppen. In Bramley at Collet and Scott. And in Marlborough at Marlborough Drive and the M1 North. Likewise, if you come across any traffic, please do send us a WhatsApp on 072 702 1702 or send us a tweet on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. Like the lady on her way to work, listening to a love song on the radio. She's recreating the music video in her mind with herself as the leading lady. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic, it's a concert on the move. Every story is different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP. 702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Good morning, Bongani and team. So about 2 years ago, a medium was interviewed on 702. I cannot remember exactly whose show she was interviewed on. However, I took down her number as I was curious to find out how the consultation between her and I would go. And she revealed a lot of truths about my life with regards to my grandfather who was no more. She just mentioned things to me about me that had happened. And yeah, it was a fascinating experience.
Bongani man. Good morning. Look, I also just want to give a shout out to all those good managers who have allowed the employees to go and send their kids. Bongani, we must acknowledge that there are very terrible bosses who would not understand that you have a child today, you have to send them to school. But to those who are absolutely humane in their managerial spirit, shout out to them. Well done. Thank you for being a good boss. Goodbye. Thank you.
Good morning, Bongani. Adekunle here from Lagos, Nigeria. Nigeria's success in the Cup of Nations comes from a change in coach. We had a coach in Africa. I believe once you have a white coach, everything is hunky-dory. Until you find out, like, there could be black coaches that are actually more knowledgeable and more tactical and more skilled. So we have a coach called Eric Chell from Mali originally. That's very good with tactics and very good at what he does. And that is why Nigeria is improving. We have the skills. We have the players to take up any team in the world, including Brazil, Argentina, England, whatever. But we do not have a good coach to make them play as a team. Now that coach is Eric Chell, and Nigeria can only get better. Great show, Bongani. Good morning.
I appreciate that voice note all the way from Lagos, Nigeria. And we're very curious as to what approach they will adopt in that very, very important encounter against the hosts, Morocco, in their next game. And of course, that's happening today. And in fact, from Business Day's reporting of it, Eric Chell says that they probably are going to adopt a defensive approach. They've already scored 14 goals in the tournament. Morocco, of course, haven't conceded a goal from open play. So it's very curious to see what happens next. We'll be speaking to Robert Marawa about that. We're also asking you, have you been in a situation where you were so desperate for some kind of miracle or breakthrough that you thought, why not? So you considered seeing a tarot card reader, perhaps consulted with some kind of prophet, or you rubbed a lucky charm. What's the wildest miracle you've sought? And did it work? And yes, very many of the colleagues that I work with on the team are all out for that very important big day, first day of school. So Mateo is not here. No, Kanya will be here instead. Amoramila is in fact taking the whole week off. So we'll be hearing from Khomotso Munyai. Cindy's also out to go and manage, the first day of school. I'm with a great team, but of the regulars, I'm here on my ace.
Start your day with Bongani Bingwa
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
25 after 6. So while we're asking you this question about a wing and a prayer, well, let's go to Mali in West Africa. Hope has turned into handcuffs. So there's a self-proclaimed healer there, one Mr. Sinayogo, who promised fans that he would magically lead Mali to the Africa Cup of Nations Cup glory, and he collected an estimated 642,000 rand whilst he was at it. Spoiler, it didn't work. Mali crashed out 1-0 to Senegal, you remember, and suddenly all his believers aren't so happy. So a crowd has marched on his home, police stepped in, and now this Mr. Sinayogo is in the cybercrime unit facing fraud charges. Yes, in Mali, apparently, if you're a charlatan, it is officially a crime, and that's why we've been asking you the question, have you been so desperate for some kind of breakthrough or miracle in your life, in your career, perhaps even in your personal life, that you went and consulted? And it's immaterial to me whether you believed it would work or not. I'm just curious to see how many of us fall for these kinds of things. It was also on this day in 1970, Diana Ross took a final bow with the Supremes. It was at the Frontier Hotel in Las Vegas, carefully choreographed, no doubt emotionally loaded. Ross introduced one Jean Terrell as her successor before stepping into a solo future that would redefine what it meant to become a pop star. I want you to listen to Diana Ross talking about how the Supremes sound evolved over time.
The first songs we sang together was like Moonlight in Vermont and Canadian Sunset. We just wanted to do harmony things where the three voices blend. But as we began to release records, we separated ourselves into a lead and background singers because in the rhythm and blues feel, in rock and roll, this is the way it is now with the lead voice and the back harmony notes or even the back unison notes.
What's the thing that would give you the thrills? Imagine as you are sitting in your car driving right now or standing in your kitchen or wherever you are listening to us from. Imagine being told that in fact your brain is sliding upwards and backwards in your skull, shifting regions that control movement and balance. Wouldn't that give you the absolute thrills? Apparently that's what happens to you in space. You see how we see them floating and bobbing up about? Even inside your skull, your brain is floating and bobbing up and about. But apparently it takes about 6 months back on the planet to fix it all. Adam Gilchrist will be telling us a little bit more about that story. Scientists have now found out that for astronauts who are in space or at the space station for some time, this is what happens to their brains. We'll get more details from Adam Gilchrist on that story in about 2 hours' time. You can't ignore the US President Donald Trump facing a very public oops moment yesterday in Michigan. So he was at a factory, a car manufacturing factory, where there was a heckler who was yelling at him, calling him a pedophile protector. And his response was captured on film. The US President showed this heckler the middle finger. I mean, what world are we living in? The president is showing hecklers the middle finger. He was flustered and yelling and barely keeping his balance on a railing. Trump turned the spotlight on this heckler and essentially sent him the middle finger and mouthed what can only be described as an expletive. And today it is the birthday of a man who really in many ways has rewritten the rules of hip-hop cool. James Todd Smith, you'll know him of course as Ladies Love Cool J, turns 58 today. From I Need a Beat to 4 decades of music, movies, books and business, he has helped drag hip-hop culture into the mainstream. He's probably, I would say, shoulder to shoulder with his peers Run DMC, Curtis Blow, the rapper, actor, author and entrepreneur, turns all of 58 today.
702.
The newspapers.
Sfiso Zulu, very good morning to you.
Morning, Bongani.
Do you consult?
Yeah, I did consult, I think 3 years ago.
Yeah?
3 years.
Traditional
3 years
healer?
ago. Traditional healer. I needed some clarity and some guidance on something.
Did they see into your soul?
Not particularly into my soul. I guess in my future. It was a very near thing that happened. So I consulted about 4 days before the radio awards happened. The healer told me that she sees a light. She sees me on stage under a spotlight. And 4 days later, I won an award. She didn't tell me what was happening. I was kind of feeling stuck in my career. I was wondering, should I change track or not? But then I consulted, and then 4 days later, I won an award. She just said she sees me on stage under a spotlight.
So I tell you what, I see in your future. I see you reading the next story in that award-winning radio voice of yours.
I'll send my invoice.
BS Fiso Zulu.
You send me your invoice.
BS Fiso Zulu, tell us what's happening in the newspapers.
Quick one, Bongani. A lot is happening in the world, and the United Nations, this is an international story that's making headlines this morning. The United Nations taking stock with what's happening in Ukraine, and they have counted the fatalities of the war in that country, and they say 2025 was the deadliest year for the civilians in Ukraine. And the Human Rights Monitoring Mission in Ukraine says the conflict-related violence killed at least 2.5 people last year, and in 2024 2,000 people died. And when the war began after Russia invaded Ukraine, about 1.9 people were dead. So United Nations taking stock of what's happening in Ukraine there.
I'm looking at the front page of the Business Day. Police may be on the hook for 56 billion rand. This is contingent liabilities on unlawful arrests, and so they're being sued for unlawful arrests, and that has tallied up to the grand total of 56 billion rand. The front page of the Sowetan, heroes behind matric success, and they're focusing, of course, on the family and support structures behind all of those distinctions we've been celebrating the last couple of days. The Citizen, schooling, pass or fail. The Department of Education hailing the national 88% matric pass rate, but the truth is, they say, the Citizen, less than 60% of pupils who enter grade 1 go on to finish grade 12.
EWN Business.
Lokanya wants to know what makes us buy the cars we choose. The brand name, the price point, aesthetics, functionality. What prompts the question, young lady?
Yeah, so Bongani, the Automotive Business Council, NAMSA, says the sales for passenger cars jumped by more than 70,000 units in 2025, and it seems more consumers are swapping up their models for cheaper Chinese and Indian brands. According to NAMSA's latest report, sales have finally recovered to pre-pandemic levels. The highest number of monthly sales were recorded in December, with close to 50,000 units in just that month alone. The interest rate cuts in September, extensions in credit for vehicle financing, two-pot withdrawals and lower vehicle inflation helped to boost buying power, and increased household spending is expected to continue boosting car sales in 2026.
And I'd imagine Asian imports are going to be a big part of that story.
Yeah, again, especially from China and India, Chinese car brands like GWM, Yocherry, Omoda and Jetour have already captured 13% of South Africa's market share. China's domestic market has reached a plateau, leading to a price war. With domestic sales stalling, Chinese car makers are flooding other markets like South Africa with cars that they can't sell at home, including EVSs. The influx of competitively priced cars could undercut local manufacturers, which is a big concern for them at the moment.
All right, for your indicators.
Slightly stronger rand this morning, Bongani, sitting at 16.35 to the dollar, 19.05 to the euro, 21.98 to the pound. Gold is trading at $4,629. The price of platinum at $2,450. Brent crude sitting at $65.34. More business after 7.
Straight to the news desk we go. Sfiso Zulu, let's get the kids in school early on, says the minister.
That's right. Bongani Sivyo Kwahube says she's in discussions with the National Treasury to determine how money can be moved within the department's budget to accommodate grade R at all schools. The Basic Education Laws Amendment Act, which came into effect last year, makes it mandatory for schools to offer grade R. Answering questions during considerations of the Adjustment Appropriation Bill in the National Assembly yesterday, Kwahube said no additional allocation has been made to support the additional grade.
We are obviously concerned about the fact that we have not received additional funding for grade R, and so we have to try and help provinces buffer that need.
Meanwhile, the matric class of 2026 has been encouraged to lock into their studies from the start of the year to secure academic success. The 2025 cohort received their national senior certificates across the country yesterday after obtaining an historic 88% pass rate. English teacher at Dipsluit High School, Samgelisiwe Vilagazi, says in order for this year's group to thrive, they must study seriously without delay.
They should start now. They shouldn't wait for maybe prelims. They shouldn't wait for finals. They should start now, because at the end of the day, everything matters. Each and every decision that you make or choice, it actually counts to your final mark.
Farmers have raised concerns again about the foot and mouth disease outbreak. They say quarantines and market closures are causing a strain on operations, while vaccine delays and poor communication from government has deepened uncertainty. Gauteng's Agriculture Portfolio Committee has warned the outbreak, particularly in Talton, is a serious economic and food security crisis. Committee Chairperson Jaco Mulder.
When outbreaks are not swiftly contained, feedlots, abattoirs, transporters, processors, retailers and exporters are all negatively affected. One must be also reminded that beyond the agricultural sector, the crisis poses a direct threat to national food security. Equally concerning is the apparent lack of clear communication, coordination and transparency from the responsible Gauteng Department of Agriculture, Rural Development and the farmers' industry.
And Iran's government says the U.S. is seeking to manufacture a pretext for military intervention after President Donald Trump threatened strong action over the deadly crackdown on mass protests. Iran's UN mission posted on X saying U.S. fantasies and policy toward Iran are rooted in regime change with sanctions and threats. Iran says Washington's playbook will fail again. Trump has cancelled all meetings with Iranian officials and has told protesters to take over institutions amid Tehran's crackdown. A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with isolated showers expected. The temperatures are at lows of 15 and 17 degrees, peaking at highs between 26 and 29.
In Boysens, there's slow-moving traffic on the M1 North as you approach the Crown interchange. And in Soweto, traffic is sluggish on Chris Hani Road between the University of Johannesburg and Para Hospital.
The top story this hour, Basic Education Minister Siviwe Kwagube says she's in discussions with the National Treasury to determine how money can be moved within the department's budget to accommodate grade R at all schools.
There's a new way to experience all your favorites. Pulse Africa, the 24/7 fast channel, now live on PrimeMediaPlus.com and the Prime Media Plus app, bringing you the best of Prime Media around the clock. Watch the biggest moments from 7:02. It's non-stop entertainment and authentic African storytelling, all from Africa's leading media network. Pulse Africa, only on the PrimeMediaPlus.com and Prime Media Plus app.
Hey guys, this is Robert Marawa, HollywoodBet's brand ambassador. Playing responsibly is part of the winning strategy. Make smart choices and continue to score. If you or someone that you know needs help, call the South African Responsible Gambling Toll-Free Counseling Line on 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. HollywoodBet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop.
Looking for a new fix in 2026? Why not make it travel? With 30% of all FlySafair's domestic flights today, it's easier than ever. Lighthouse spotting, sunset watching, heritage hunting. Whatever your obsession is this year, FlySafair's got the fares to help you fuel it. The sale ends at midnight for travel until 24 October. So go on, get going to flysafair.co.za and get your fix with 30% off flights. FlySafair, for the love of flying. T's and C's apply.
John Perlman. Weekday afternoons,
3 to 6.
Are you convinced that at a higher tax level, with less drinking, the overall tax take is still going to be larger from alcohol?
Yes, I mean, hopefully it declines over time. But at the moment, we've got such a huge problem in South Africa that it will be substantial money. So in some countries, for example, in Australia, they use some of the tobacco tax money for health promotion in their health promotion foundation. So they used that. But then the government jumped in and started using their money, whatever they had.
Professor Susan Goldstein from the South African Medical Research Council.
John Perlman.
3 to 6 on 702.
702 Afternoon Drive with John Perlman is proudly brought to you by Telkom Business. Possibility begins here. 702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Bongs, you can't find tires. You cannot find tires. Aye, Bongs. What car are you driving, Tata? You must be driving those expensive ones. What car are you driving, Bongan? Tell us, Tata. Tell us.
Good morning, 702 landers. Hope you're having a good January out there. So my story is my sister was out with her friends at one of the festivals and carnivals around Joburg, and they saw the psychic. And sure enough, she went in with her friends. And the psychic actually told her that you have a brother that your mom has not told you about. So she confronted her mom. Mom told her that, yes, you do have a brother. And one day I got a knock on my door and she said, hey, Mlefe, I'm your sister. So if it wasn't for that psychic, I wouldn't know I have a big sister, which my dad actually also neglected to tell me about.
Gosh. And it's those random encounters that I find absolutely fascinating, right? Where you didn't necessarily even seek them out. But, you know, you're at a fair, you're in some market, and they just grab your hand and they do a reading right there and they tell you something profound and you just, how could they have known? How could they have known? Do you consult? I've been surprised by the number of people who regularly consult spiritual healers, who consult mediums, who consult psychics, who look for things in other realms. And sometimes you think, I don't want to know, right? You think, it might be more trouble than it's worth. I wonder, are you a believer? Let us know.
EWN Sport.
Anthony Teixeira, his eyes are popping out as we have this conversation. Can you imagine?
I don't want to imagine, to be honest with you.
Right? There's things you don't want to know.
Yeah. I just leave it be. There's a reason why they haven't told you anything, right?
If only they could tell us what happens in the world of sport, eh?
Well,
We'd
don't
be
worry.
rich.
I can tell you. After the fact, at least.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Bongani, let's start with Man City, who outplayed Newcastle 2-0 at St. James's Park in the first leg of their Carabao Cup semi-final. Ryan Cherky scoring the second deep into stoppage time, with Anton Semenyo having a hand in the build-up and also opening the scoring on the night. Pep Guardiola celebrated the new signing, who now has 2 goals from 2 and could have had a third on the night had VAR not disallowed it.
And Bournemouth have done with Aula, I think improve a lot this kind of scrappy goals, or in the opposite side, right to the box. Leroy, especially Raheem, was extraordinary with that. And yeah, the Semenyo will make 1 goal, another one was not conceded.
I mentioned this to Africa Melani a little earlier on. VAR or VAR, video assistant referee. The errors are a point of contention when it comes particularly to the Premier League. Our EWN colleague Mawanda Mateza was saying a little earlier on that it isn't a standardized approach. Different companies offer different technology, and so you won't necessarily see the same standard applied across the board. At this stage of the season, in the 2022-23 season, the Business Times reporting there were already 23 VAR mistakes. 23-24, there were 20. It's improved somewhat. We're sitting at 13 at the moment in the season. So are you for or against?
I have to say that I'm for it when it's implemented correctly. Unfortunately, I don't think it's been implemented correctly at all this season. I mean, Pep Guardiola had, in his press conference yesterday, he spoke for well over 5 minutes, just talking about the various incidents, specifically between matches that Man City have played against Newcastle. And he raised 2 vital moments that in the Premier League games, they had been awarded penalties against Man City. And yet last night, that goal was ruled off despite the fact that they took 5.5 minutes to decide.
I know it may not be quite the same technology, but how do sports like cricket and rugby get it right?
I mean, that's the real question. You've seen Hawkeye for years in cricket, and even then, it's pretty contentious because you have the potentially, keeping the review if it's just hitting the wickets or not hitting the wickets, and there are question marks over whether Hawkeye works. Rugby is probably the better of the 3, if you're being totally honest. And it's because of the fact that we can hear the referees talking. We can see the way that the decision making is taking place, and it's not so hidden from us. I mean, Pep Guardiola saying yesterday, we need to actually get an idea of what's happening. But yeah, hopefully no such incidents in the second semi-final today.
I'd love to hear from soccer lovers, football lovers. What are your thoughts on VAR, particularly that game from last night?
Well, that second semi-final will be Chelsea against Arsenal today. Well, back on the continent, we have AFCON semi-finals, Senegal meeting Egypt. We have Nigeria playing Morocco. Chicago Fire confirmed the signing of 21-year-old wing Puso Tijane from TS Galaxy. The MLS side confirming he'll occupy an under-22 initiative slot as well as an international roster position, and his contract will run through to the 29-30 season with a club option of a further year. Man United confirmed that Michael Carrick will be their new head coach for the remainder of the season. He'll have just the Premier League to concentrate on with games in charge. His first one, rather, being the Manchester Derby Saturday. While in cricket, the Paul Royals secured an impressive 6-wicket win over the Durban Super Giants, moving second in the SA20 standings. And at the Dakar Rally, new leader is Spaniard Nani Roma as he tops by less than a minute. Henk Latergan dropping down to 4th. Thankfully, he remains only 6 minutes and 13 seconds behind the leader. South African struggling on stage 9, finishing 25 minutes behind the stage winner. Anthony Teixeira, Eyewitness News Sport.
Who is the whizziest of them all?
It's the Whiz Quiz on 702.
My name is Nweti. I'm 12 years old and I go to Parktown High School for Girls. I would like to be a neurosurgeon when I grow up, and I'm excited to play the Whiz Quiz this morning with Uncle Bongani.
A neurosurgeon. What were your ambitions when you were 12 years old? We can't wait to play with you for the Whiz Quiz.
EWN Traffic.
13 to 7, this EWN Traffic brought to you by Ford. Live at your peak in the Ford Everest. You were telling us about build-up near the Boysons area. So what are you seeing at the moment?
Yes, Bongani, it is building up indeed. If you're coming from Boysons, there's slow-moving traffic on the M1 North as you approach the Crown interchange. And it is also starting to pick up on the M2 West. This is from Heidelberg Road to the Crown interchange. In Soweto, traffic remains sluggish on Chris Hani Road. This is if you're coming from the University of Johannesburg, heading towards Barra Hospital. And in Illiondale and Edenvale, expect some delays on Modderfontein Road. This is between Zierfontein Road and Lorry. In Claremont, traffic is heavily backed up on Bremer Street. This is between Van der Hof and Darsport Tunnel. And in Midrand, traffic is congested on the N1 South. This is between Brakfontein Interchange and Olifantsfontein Road. Likewise, if you come across any more traffic, please do send us a WhatsApp on 072-702-1702 or just send us a tweet on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
There's crossing a river, and then there's crossing a river in your Ford Everest. With up to 6 selectable drive modes, it's not a challenge. It's a flex. That's peak living in the Ford Everest from only $12,099 per month with zero deposit required when financed through Ford Credit, a registered financial services and credit provider. Includes our Ford Family Promise, where you receive free 4x4 training, 6.6% interest rate, 40% residual. Visit your nearest Ford dealer today. T&Cs apply.
702.
Coming up at 7:15, the big interview.
You may be paying more for school fees, but without insurance, you could be saving on your car insurance. Like 40-year-old Rafiq, who saves a mind-blowing 899 Rand a month on his 2017 Nissan Navara 4x4. Get a quote, and if insurance can't save you money, you can ask them for 500 Rand or 1,500 Rand if you've been claim-free with the same insurer for 3 years. SMS out to 45142. So that's out to 45142. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP. T's, C's, and information online.
This message is brought to you by Eskom, redefining for a better future.
Hey South Africa, want to keep your lights on and save money? Let's use electricity wisely. It's easier than you think. Switch off lights when you leave a room, unplug chargers and appliances, and use energy-saving bulbs. They last longer and use less power. Every little bit helps. For your home, your wallet, and our planet.
Let's make it a habit and use electricity wisely. Eskom.
The brainy kids of the Whiz Quiz
on 702.
Let's play the Whiz Quiz. 12-year-old Nweti wants to be a neurosurgeon when she is a little older. She goes to Parktown Girls. And a very good morning to you, Nweti. Are you ready to play the Whiz Quiz?
Morning, Uncle Bongani. I am ready to play the Whiz Quiz this morning.
And it's the first day of school today. Hey, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling quite excited.
You're feeling quite excited. Listen, let's see if we can give you and make you some money, hey?
Yes, Uncle Bongani.
All right, here we go. Let's start the clock. Spell the word banking.
Banking.
Correct. Does the word scam mean fire or to cheat?
To cheat.
Correct. In maths, what is 75 plus 25?
100.
Correct. True or false? The word halal comes from Arabic?
True.
Correct. What is the name of Ukraine's capital? Kyiv or Moscow?
Moscow.
It's Kyiv. Which animal has the biggest ears and nose?
The camel.
The elephant. Which metal is used to make brass and bronze? Is it copper or silver?
Silver.
It's copper. True or false? Neil Armstrong was the first man on the moon.
True.
Correct. What is the main ingredient in chocolate?
Cacao.
Cocoa, but yeah, we'll take that. And that's all the time we have, I'm afraid. So we got through 9 questions. You got 3 answers incorrect, and that means you walk away with 600 Rand, $600. That's not a bad start for the year. Hey, Bertie, bit of pocket money? Bit of lunch money? Congratulations, 600 Rand is what you walk away with in today's Whiz Quiz.
702 podcasts are on 702.co.za.
Coming up in the next hour, what's the question? It's brought to you by Outsurance. Up to 3,000 Rand in cash is up for grabs. Send us an answer based on something that piqued your interest during the show, and for that you win 1,000 Rand. WhatsApp us your name and the answer to 072 702 1702. Then, of course, a little later, someone else will ask a question to win 2,000 Rand. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance.
EWN Traffic.
Now, this EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now to save on your insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand.
In the traffic in Boysens, there's slow-moving traffic on the M1 North as you head towards the Crown interchange. And in Illiondale and Edenvale, expect some delays at Modderfontein Road between Zierfontein Road and Laurie. If you come across any more traffic, you know what to do. Send me a WhatsApp, please, on 072-702-1702, or how about a tweet on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
The Outsurance pointsmen can't help with your kids' school stationery shopping list, but they can ease traffic congestion so you get to the shops in time to snag the best pencil case. With the Outsurance pointsmen on the road for the past 20 years, we can all get to where we need to quickly and safely in the new year. Outsurance really means it when they say you always get something out. In proud partnership with 702. Show them some love online using hashtag pointsmanlove. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
702 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
All right, and it's time now for the Africa Report, it being a Wednesday. And today we decided to focus on, I suppose, the tournament that Africans all around the continent have been glued to for the last month or so. AFCON 2025 in Morocco is now down to the business end, with the semi-finals set to showcase some of the biggest stars African football has produced. In fact, 5 former African Player of the Year winners are still standing, and they've been central to carrying their nations so far. From Nigeria's firepower to Egypt's experience, Morocco's home ground belief, the stakes could not be higher. And we've invited South African journalist and sports broadcaster extraordinaire, our colleague from 947, Robert Marawa, to take us through what he thinks we can expect in the next few games. Robert, always a pleasure to have you on the show. Compliments of the season and all the rest of it. I suppose we have to start with our own team, Bafana Bafana. There were great expectations that were dashed quite early on.
Yep, like all the respectful kids say on your show, Bongani. Good morning, Uncle Bongani. What a pleasure to be on your show. Yeah, I mean, great way, very apt way of describing it, because Bafana Bafana did come through with lots of expectation. If you go back to the previous tournament in Cote d'Ivoire, where we finished third, so that was a bronze medal victory for South Africa, you know, growing in confidence, qualified for the World Cup already. So everything pretty much spick and span as far as what our coach, Hugo Broos, has been able to do. But yeah, I think there were just moments, Bongani, where they weren't showing up at times where maybe the formations were not right, the wrong players being applied as far as maybe, let's say, first half application is concerned. So we were found wanting. And then he made a rallying call to say that, you know, perhaps South Africa should have more players that are playing in Europe as opposed to just relying on local players. But the irony is that the last time South Africa did it, it was, you know, mainly reliant on
local players.
Mamelodi Sundowns players. Yeah, 100%. So I think South Africa are going through a phase where pre-World Cup, we really just need to find our footing.
Well, let's look at the semi-finals and what it looks like right now. I mean, in some senses, you could argue this is one of the most star-studded AFCON last fours we've seen in some time.
I can't wait. I mean, this has been, for me, on the football field itself, one of the best Africa Cup of Nations ever. You know, when it comes to showcasing African football globally, it's the best, the most viewed as far as the television is concerned. Here you got, Nigeria, who you got to admit, though, that they really put their hands up right now to lifting the trophy. I mean, they're bidding for their fourth Africa Cup of Nations title. They play against the Morocco side here, believe it or not. I don't know how old you were or whether you were born in 1976, Bongani, but that was the last time Morocco won the Africa Cup of Nations. So it's a huge gap between that victory, the amount of work that Morocco have put into their football, and the fact that they really haven't on the continent been great superstars. Then you go across to the Senegal-Egypt game. 3 years after, appearing together, Sadio Mane as well as Mo Salah are going to be on the opposing sides. So they get a chance as well to renew that rivalry. They were lost on the pitch together when they both faced at Liverpool, Real Madrid in the Champions League final back in May of, 2022. So there's little battles that go on that we want to see, and they're both former Africa Cup of Nations winners, like you rightfully said in your build-up. So whether it's Senegal versus Egypt, who, again, coincidentally, I've got to say this, all four countries are coached by African coaches. Eric Chell of Nigeria, Walid Regragui of Morocco, you got Pape Thiaw of Senegal, as well as Osama San, an Egyptian legend, who now gets to coach Egypt once again.
You mentioned some of the superstars there. Is there one standout player that you think could decide the tournament from here, and who would that be?
Oh, man. Brahim Diaz, he plays for Real Madrid. He's a top goal scorer, vying for the Golden Boot award. He's scored 5 goals so far. Bongani, it's his first
in 5
Africa
consecutive games, eh?
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, he's just really shot through, been a brilliant performer. I can't put out a Victor Osimhen. People might criticize him and say that he's an arrogant guy. He doesn't listen. It's all about him. But I love people that show heart, people that want to fight, not only just for themselves, but for the nation. And look at what he's been able to do to rally the troops, controversially at times. But, I would rather have a Victor Osimhen than somebody who really wants to do a donkey's job and do nothing.
And yet Nigeria haven't qualified for the World Cup. How extraordinary.
Oh, I know. DRC, who still have a chance of qualifying through, they are out of the tournament. So it's also just shown again, when you talk about inconsistencies, what is happening with the SADC region or the the COSAFA region. There I am getting all militant. What has happened to the southern tip of the African continent? Why are we getting kicked out? Your Zambias, your Angolas, you talk about South Africa, you talk about Zimbabwe, Mozambique. Why have, the COSAFA region struggled so much? So we also just need to do a little bit of introspection to see what and how we can improve. But hey, you know what, guys, when you got Senegal, Egypt, you got Morocco and Nigeria in the semi-final, and you've had superstars again like Kylian Mbappe, Jules Kounde. You've had Orien Tchouameni also just all coming through and supporting their teammates at this tournament, including Zinedine Zidane coming to support his son. So star power hasn't just been on the field, it's been in the terraces as well.
I've got to put you on the spot here a little, and I'm happy if you don't feel comfortable to answer, but it's just so top of mind. Increasingly, there are reports about a drop in World Cup ticket sales because of concerns about safety in the US. Do you have any information on that story?
We watch people being maimed by ICE every single day. Women, regardless of their nationality, regardless of whether they have the right documentation or not, they're being dragged out. But when you remember the build-up to the 2010 FIFA World Cup in South Africa, we were being accused of anything and everything that has to do with violent behavior, how people will be shot in the middle of the street. We're watching America real time, CNN, Sky, BBC. That's exactly what is happening. Donald Trump is as maverick a person as he is. I have absolutely no respect for the man. But we are seeing now America as being one of the most dreaded countries to visit. So let alone host a massive tournament. Donald Trump being given a peace award because he was not going to get the Nobel Peace Prize. That was, again, an own goal, a red card moment from FIFA to the world to say, how then can you give a man who since then has gone on to do all of these atrocities and invading countries that he's not supposed to be invading. But in terms of what's happening in America, it's going to be very difficult. And people are sending a very strong message globally to say that they will give back their tickets. They're willing to forfeit their tickets and everything else. So, yeah, I'm not sure what the next stage is going to be, but FIFA do have a meeting that has been called for next week.
All right, Robert Barra, appreciating your time, South African journalist and sports commentator there, mostly on AFCON, but I just had to throw in that World Cup question because we are living in interesting times, my friends.
702.
Coming up, the big interview.
Lifestyle audits, how rigorous are they? And if we're conducting so many, how come so few officials are being flagged for further investigation? That's an interview coming up with the Minister of Public Service and Administration. In the meantime, this Eyewitness News is brought to you by Khaliks. Khaliks, for the businessman who knows what he wants.
This is EWN.
Adverse weather affects the first day of school in Limpopo. We go live for the latest, and Enoch Godongwana insists there's no need to fight NHI issues in court. Good morning, I am Sfiso Zulu. Schools in Limpopo districts affected by floods have been advised not to open today as more heavy downpours are expected in the province. The Education Department says it wants to ensure the safety of pupils and teachers. Emergency services remain on high alert, and residents have been warned of life-threatening conditions, including the risk of being swept away by floodwaters. Mongezi Koko is in Limpopo and joins us now live. Mongezi, a wet start to the first day of school there.
That's right, Spiso. The annual tradition of polished shoes, crisp-ironed school shirts, and school bags packed with newly covered books is a distant dream for hundreds of learners forced to stay home due to flooding. Persistent rainfall, submerged bridges, and impassable roads have prompted the Limpopo Education Department to keep schools closed in the Vembe and Mopani districts, which remain the hardest hit. Education Department spokesperson Mike Maringa says safety assessments have determined that conditions are too dangerous for learners to return to class.
4 of education districts are located, being Vembe East, West, Mopani East, and parts of Mopani West. We urge parents to be cautious.
Now, Sfiso authorities say it is still unclear when the rain will ease, when conditions will stabilize, and when schools in the affected areas will be able to reopen. Monkey Ziko Ko, Eyewitness News, reporting live in Guyana.
Meanwhile, the Basic Education Minister, Siviwe Gwahube, has pledged that all pupils waiting placement in schools, particularly grades 1 and 8, will secure a seat. About 3,000 pupils in those grades in Gauteng remain without placements in high-pressure areas. Gwahube says provincial departments are under severe strain to accommodate all children due to inward migration, particularly to Gauteng and the Western Cape.
What provinces are going to be doing is trying to make sure that all learners who are at least applying are going to be placed in schools. They may not be placed in the schools that they desire, but we have a constitutional obligation to make sure that all learners are placed.
Parents in Gauteng have been queuing at Education Department district offices with the hope of securing placement at schools. Khumuso Modise has more.
Yesterday, several district offices around Gauteng had parents in snaking queues with the hope of securing placement in a school of their choice. This morning, those queues are expected to form once again as 3,000 grade 1 and 8 pupils remained without schools. Yesterday, on the sidelines of the matric results celebration event, Education MEC Matume Chulwane said after the next 10 days of trying to find placements, pupils left stranded will have to be temporarily placed in schools.
Because we have to create the schools in the areas where we are in reach capacity, the high pressure areas. Because the current schools there are really full. And if we put any more learners to them, we are going to really begin to collapse the system.
Chilwani says the new schools that the department is setting up should be ready by the end of the month. Khumuso Modise, Eyewitness News.
Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana says he wants legal challenges to the National Health Insurance to be settled out of court. He's taken a swipe at medical associations who are challenging the introduction of the Act, saying the move will further delay universal access to healthcare. During debate on the medium-term budget in the National Assembly yesterday, Godongwana also blamed the Zuma administration for squandering money he says could have been used to improve health and education sectors. Lindsay Dentlinker reports.
There are
are at least 5 pending cases in the High and Constitutional Courts to challenge the National Health Insurance Act. But Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana believes solutions can be found to address the concerns of medical associations who've launched the cases.
The interesting thing is that both protagonists in court proclaim that they support universal coverage and access. It is my submission that these parties must meet and craft a settlement.
Godongwana says the current administration is not to blame for the challenges being faced by the health and education sectors.
Under Zuma, both education and health lost 243 billion rand to fund state-captured SOEs.
Godongwana says it's untrue that government is not employing graduate doctors, with at least 300 appointments made in KwaZulu-Natal. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
And at least 18 people have died in a landslide in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. The landslide took place in North Kivu province, where the Congolese state is largely absent due to the advance of the Rwanda-backed M23 militia. The DRC's east, which frequently experiences heavy rains, is no stranger to deadly landslides. Gold is trading at $4,578.81 an ounce. The rand is at 16.36 to the dollar, 21.99 to the pound, 19.05 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $65.29 a barrel.
In the traffic in Centurion, there's heavy delays on Remte Road. This is between Fort Trekker and Old Johannesburg Road. And in Midrand, traffic is congested on the N1 South between Brakfontein Interchange and the Olifantsfontein Road.
And in your sport, VAR controversy doesn't dampen Man City's nights as they beat Newcastle 2-0 in the first leg of their Carabao Cup semi-final. Chicago Fire make a second South African signing, while Man United confirmed that Michael Carrick will be their head coach for the remainder of the season, and Springbok lock Jean Klein finds a new home.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with isolated showers and thundershowers expected. Johannesburg starting at 15 degrees, peaking at 26. Pretoria 17 and 28. Vereeniging 16 and 29. The top story in EWN this hour. Schools in Limpopo districts affected by floods have been advised not to open today as more heavy downpours are expected in the province.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
It's time to get back to business by visiting Khaliq's, because a new year means a fresh new start and even more opportunities to look smart with Khaliq's collection of business suits in a range of colors, styles and quality fabrics. Not to mention the very best quality, value for money and service. So whatever your New Year's resolution, do it in style with business formal, relaxed and casual collections, all from Khaliq's, for the businessman who knows what he wants.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
10 minutes after 7 o'clock, we're keeping an eye on schools in Limpopo affected there by floods, and they've been advised not to open today. More heavy downpours expected in the province. I just saw a story in one of the newspapers. Do you remember that story from years ago? I think it was around 99, 2000. There were floods again in that part of the world, including in Mozambique, and there was a baby who was born in a tree, and they were rescued, I think, the mom and child by helicopter. Well, apparently that baby has died, had been dealing with an illness over a period of time and has died just recently. But that's the kind of story we can expect, I suppose, at this time of the year with the rains in that part of the country.
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
702 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
Speaking to Robert Marawa there, sports broadcaster from our sister station 947. We're down to the wire with AFCON. Have you been watching? Do you have a favorite now that perhaps you've got your head around the fact that Bafana are no longer in the tournament. The big four teams vying for the Cup of Nations. Morocco, of course, as hosts, are always in with a chance. Nigeria have made a strong showing. They're, of course, the Egyptians who've won it a record number of times. And Senegal, do you have a team? Do you have a player? Do you have a standout moment? That's certainly something to look forward to. Now, in Mali, hope has turned into handcuffs. We were telling you a little earlier about the self-proclaimed healer, one Mr. Sinayogo, who had promised fans he could magically lead Mali to Africa Cup of Nations glory, and he was collecting cash from them to do it. He totaled around 650,000 rand, and of course it didn't work because Mali crashed out 1-0 to Senegal earlier in the tournament, and now the believers want their money back. He's been arrested by the cybercrime unit and is facing fraud charges in that country. We told you a little earlier on as well that on this day in 1970, Diana Ross took her final bow with the Supremes. It was at the Frontier Hotel in Las Vegas. The farewell was immortalized on a double LP. The Supremes carried on, and of course, Diana Ross soared. Donald Trump has faced a very public oops moment yesterday in Michigan. A heckler called him a pedophile protector, and his response, captured on film, was to show the middle finger at the heckler. Flustered, yelling, and barely keeping his balance on a railing, Trump turned the spotlight on a furious but brief clash, and now the White House spokespeople are calling it an inappropriate and unambiguous response to a lunatic in full rage. It's a scene that comes as the Trump administration faces mounting pressure over the Epstein files, leaving lawmakers and the public alike asking questions about what it is they do not yet know. Born to rewrite the rules of hip-hop cool, James Todd Smith, you'll know him as LL Cool J. He turns all of 58 today. From I Need a Beat to 4 decades of music, movies, books, and business, he has helped hip-hop culture come into the mainstream.
EWN Traffic.
13 after 7, the CWN Traffic is brought to you by South African Airways. It's nearly time to head back to university. So why hit the road when you can fly? Book now at flysaa.com. Khumutso?
Bongs in Midrand, very, very busy. Traffic is congested there on the N1 South between Brakfontein Interchange and the Olifantsfontein Road, so expect some delays there. In Boysens, there's bumper-to-bumper traffic on the M1 North as you approach the Crown Interchange, as well as on the M2 West. This is from Heidelberg Road. And traffic lights are out in Douglasdale at Leslie and Douglas Drive, causing heavy delays, and in Sandton at Grayston Drive and the M1. If you do come across any other traffic, please do send us a WhatsApp on 072-702-1702 or send us a tweet on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Matric class of 2025 ready to spread your wings? South African Airways makes your uni journey easier with all-inclusive one-way fares from Johannesburg to Durban from 690 Rand, from Joburg to Gqeberha 655, Joburg to Cape Town 1,144. Plus, pack more of what you need with 2 checked bags instead of 1. It's on sale until the 12th of February. Travel by 12 February 2026. Book now at flysaa.com. T's and C's apply.
702. Up next.
The Big Interview.
Sorry I'm late, Sevi. Had to fetch my lucky putter. No worries. Let's go. We're teeing off in an hour. Great. We're taking your car. Can't. It's already taken. What do you mean taken? It was right here when I left a few minutes ago. I sold it to Weber Cars and made a whole lot of green. Birdie told me that's the best way to sell your car. Not only the best way, it's the fair way. Kom ons vat die pad.
Don't be doof, be savvy. We buy cars geared for a fast sale, geared for you.
It's the new year, and Peter is still looking for a university.
Why is this so hard?
And now that he's running out of time, he's not looking at the right things.
Wait, I'm not?
You see, where most universities sell you on what you'll do at university, Emirates focuses on what you'll be able to do when you leave university.
Well, that changes everything.
With a high-performance tertiary education from Emirates, you'll be able to make a mark in the working world from day one.
And I can still register?
Yes. Register today at emrys.ac.za. Emrys is an educational brand of the Independent Institute of Education.
You've heard the songs, but until you've seen it live, you haven't experienced the magic of cats. Coming to Monte Casino from 17 January until 22 February, it's the memory shared by millions. Book now at Web Tickets. Brought to you by Peter Turin and GWB Entertainment.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
What kind of crimes are you talking about here? Is it mostly the kind of hacking attacks that other industries suffer from as well?
Cyber attacks that are more fraud-related types, just probably from a revenue and service disruptions, can affect the network operators, but also can affect the customers as well.
Thokozani Mbalase, the CEO of the Communication Risk Information Center.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show, Stephen Curtis, is brought to you by ABSA CIB. Invested in your story because your story matters. ABSA is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
702.
The Big Interview
with Bongani Bingwa.
17 after 7, on to this now. Lifestyle audits. It's a phrase we bandy about, but what is really involved? The goal is simple, of course, to ensure that they're used as a tool in the fight against corruption and fraud, particularly when it comes to the public sector. The goal is really very simple. Do public servants' lifestyles align with their known income? The Lifestyle Audit Program has flagged 24 public servants for undeclared income and hidden assets, but none of these cases have been referred to law enforcement. This despite nearly 9,000 senior officials being audited, and it raises some questions, perhaps even doubts, about the system's effectiveness. We're joined now by the Minister of Public Service and Administration, Minister Mzamo Buthelezi. A very good morning to you and welcome to 702 Breakfast. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, and thanks for giving us an opportunity, and greetings to your listeners.
Minister, just explain, because for lay people like myself, we bandy about the term lifestyle audits, but perhaps not many of us understand exactly what is involved. How rigorous are they, and what do officials seek to uncover?
Thank you very much. I think I should begin by saying lifestyle audit is one of the mechanisms that has been designed by government to try and deal with crime, in particular corruption among the public servants, where senior managers and all those that are involved in supply chain management, regardless of their position, are subjected to this lifestyle audit, where we try to see whether indeed their lifestyle is aligned or in alignment with what they are earning, meaning when people are living far beyond their means. That is what lifestyle audit seeks to identify and flag all the red flags, so that attention is given to those specific individuals who are suspected to be living beyond their means. Simply, that is what it is.
All right, so how rigorous is it? I mean, what do investigators look for?
The process is very rigorous, and it appeared to be successful indeed when you look at the issue of compliance. Firstly, there is something that we need to clarify here, that not all red flags suggest that there is crime being committed or there is corruption that has been what you call committed. What normally happens is that departments, because this is a decentralized process, departments will actually encourage people to declare what they have. So in that declaration, which is an e-disclosure, in that process, Mzamo Buthelezi will declare his assets. After that, when then those assets have been declared, there is a team that is responsible for making sure that they look into those assets when declared, whether they speak to the person's income. Then after that, when something has been flagged as being suspicious, then the lifestyle investigation therefore follows, whereby they follow through now to say, I've declared two, for example, 2 cars. Is that the case? I've declared 1 house. is that the case? So we do that by consulting the deeds office in relation to properties and NAT in relation to cars, and also CIPC in relation to any business that I may be involved in. So in case we get a discrepancy in as far as the houses that I have compared to what I've declared, then it's then that the investigators will dig deeper. But sometimes the system will flag that Umzamo did not declare enough, meaning if I've got 3 cars and I've only declared 1, that does not on its own suggest that I was dishonest. For example, you've got people who bought cars in 20 years and they are no longer using those cars, they are broken, they're lying in their garages, but they don't go to entities to make sure that they deregister those assets. So this system will flag such things. And when the investigators go deeper to them now, they will discover, no, not necessarily that the person was dishonest, but it's because the person did not deregister that particular asset, which was supposed to be deregistered.
Right. So are you saying, Minister, then by the time we get to an actual audit, some kind of red flag has to have been raised? These aren't random spot checks, if you will.
There are departments that are doing random spot checks, but all begins from declaring. Like, for example, if you are obliged to declare every year, so you must tell us what you have. Emanating from that, then we follow those things through. But also, we may receive some information from whistleblowers who may actually send us information, say, we say your employee so and so, he appeared to be living beyond his means. Can you just investigate? And then we also take an initiative to do such. Not necessarily that it's only from the disclosure forms only, even from people outside who may share some information with us.
So we understand that about 9,000 senior officials have been audited, and yet the audit program has flagged 24 cases of undeclared income and hidden assets. That seems an extraordinarily low number given the overall number of cases of people who've been audited. Is it that you are not able to find anything, or are officials just really good at hiding ill-gotten gains?
I think in the main, we should look at that from a point of view that says the number of people that get audited, if it's like 9,000, it does not mean that 50% of them should be having some red flags. That should not be the case, and that's not how we should be viewing at this. We should be viewing at this as something that suggests that many public servants are not actually corrupt as we normally hear from the media, because sometimes the media wants to narrate a particular story which may not be backed by evidence. So also on the other side, it could be that there are those who are able to hide their assets very far from where we can reach. But as far as the department, as far as we are concerned, we are happy to say what the investigators or red flags have been flagged means just that. Unless something suggests otherwise, then we can only take it from there. But the system itself, from where we sit, is very effective. But also, any system is as good as those people that are working with it. And also, we need to improve from time to time, because criminals are always ahead most of the time.
Yeah, I would push back a little against that, Minister, and suggest to you that it isn't because the media is highlighting these issues. The fact that you've had to institute the lifestyle audit program, no less than the President has spoken about it, even at cabinet level, suggests there are investigations that need to be conducted here. But perhaps one might say that if we are just doing a tick box exercise, then, we will look at 9,000 cases and only flag 24 and refer none to law enforcement.
No. The reference to law enforcement is not the initial process. I think we must get the process correct. When there are red flags, all departments have internal systems and controls in place to deal with issues of investigation. But we do appreciate also the fact that some departments don't have enough personnel. Hence, we are trying now to create a pool of investigators that will assist in departments where they don't have. Because to actually investigate one individual takes about 4 months, and each person more or less Last time I checked was about 30,000. So there's a lot of money involved. So since as government don't have much money, we are developing internal controls. But in those systems where there is prima facie evidence that indeed here there is something that's happening, we refer those to SIU and other law enforcement agencies. Meaning that is the last part of the process where something has been established, not to be going accordingly.
I suppose the real question is, what is the point of these lifestyle audits then if they really lead to criminal consequences, as you've just outlined?
Can you just repeat that question?
The point would be, why are we doing these lifestyle audits if they rarely lead to criminal consequences, as you've just outlined?
It's not necessarily that they rarely lead to criminal prosecution. You only prosecute where there is prima facie evidence. For example, if we are 100 employees who are in senior management, and then we are required to undergo this process, it does not suggest that automatically 90% of us should be found guilty on anything. It suggests that the process wants to identify if there are any elements of corruption in our activities. If therefore 10 out of 100 are flagged, that means only those that are actually supposed to be investigated, because we should run away from creating a perception that out of 100% of people who are flagged, all of them are guilty. Being flagged does not...
I don't think we're suggesting that at all, Minister, but out of 9,000 cases, for example, out of 9,000 audits, how many people have lost their jobs?
No, if people have not, remember this, out of 9,000, you may found that 50 or even 60% of them, those issues were cleared. As far as what I've just explained to you to say.
No, I fully accept, Minister, that the vast majority will likely be cleared, and I think we welcome that as the public, right? We hope for that. We hope for the majority of people being cleared. But what I'm saying to you, if 9,000 investigations were conducted, are you telling me not a single person was fired or criminally charged?
Not all the cases in this financial year have been concluded in terms of investigation. If those matters that have been referred, then those people are found to be on the wrongs. As I said, criminal charges will be actually served to them, and also they will undergo through the consequences.
So how many have been charged?
So far, we don't have that. So this is how many people that have been charged, because charging them will emanate.
All right. How many have lost their jobs? How many have been dismissed?
No, in this financial year, no one has been dismissed. But I think there's something that is important which we are trying to avoid. The fact that you can't dismiss any individual who is flagged in this process, having not exhausted the whole process. If Umzamo has been flagged, and then there is investigation that is still going through now as we speak, you can't therefore fire that person.
Minister, the President has told us that even at cabinet level we'll have lifestyle audits. How far are we on that score?
We are still in the process. We're undergoing the process, including myself.
Are you saying to me that ministers are being audited, have been audited?
We are still in the process of being audited.
So those audits are underway, or they're about to happen?
They are underway already as we speak.
So there are ministers being audited as we speak?
As we speak, yes.
Have you been audited?
I am in the process. I've submitted whatever that has been requested from me, so I'm waiting, therefore, to see how the process will unfold.
But you're not worried, right?
For example, there is something that is a red flag under my name, it does not suggest that, therefore, the president must therefore get rid of me tomorrow.
Sure.
The process must unfold and then come to a conclusion, and then a decision. Like in the court processes,
sure.
The fact that you've been alleged does not mean that you must be sentenced willy-nilly.
No, I hear you. I hear you, Minister. You're not worried, right?
No, I'm not at all. Not at all.
All right, Minister, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. Minister Mzamo Buthelezi there, the Minister of Public Service and Administration. I think 9,000 audits so far conducted. Not a single charged criminally, not a single dismissal, but he says the system is working. Are you convinced?
EWN Business.
Talking of naughty lists, Nokanya Mdambo, South Africa has been removed, I should rather say, from yet another one.
Yeah, think of this as a lifestyle audit.
A country audit.
A global one, yes,
Country audit.
This time we've been removed from the European Union's list of high-risk third-party jurisdictions. This is a consequence of being removed from FATF's grey list last October after South Africa spent months on efforts to combat money laundering and terrorism financing. 5 other African countries were also delisted by the EU: Burkina Faso, Mali, Mozambique, Nigeria and Tanzania. In terms of EU laws, financial institutions must apply a higher level of scrutiny to transactions involving parties and countries deemed to be high risk. These requirements, of course, add friction to financial transactions and flows, affecting trade, payments and investment. Now, the removal of the EU on the EU list doesn't necessarily mean that SA transactions will be subject to less scrutiny just yet, Bongani.
Right, local markets?
The rand, Bongani, slightly stronger at 16.36 to the dollar, 19.05 to the euro, 21.98 to the pound. Gold is trading at $4,629 an ounce, platinum at $2,450. Chrome and platinum producer Tharisa, in fact, gave their PGM price outlook for the year when they delivered their first corporate update yesterday. They expect current price levels to either stay the same or potentially be higher and persist like that over the next couple of months. Senior equity sales trader at Absa CIB, Anthony Modisani, joined Stephen Grotes on the Money Show last night. This is what he had to say about those expectations.
We're just in an environment that's supportive of your precious metals, and particularly gold being the one that's leading the charge at the moment. So yes, I do think they're actually going to be higher for the times being. I don't think there's much in the way of them going high at this point in time. You're having some of the big global banks saying by the end of this quarter, gold's going to go to $5,000 per ounce. So if we pull it back to markets and look at what that's meant for our equity markets, top 40 index has looked like it pretty well, but that's a largely a gold and platinum group miners story, whereas your domestics really haven't come to the party yet.
Let's talk about oil.
Yeah, the price of Brent crude at $65.34. Bongani, more business after 8.
Let's go straight to the news desk. Swiso Zulu, what do you have at this hour?
Thanks, Bongani. Good morning. Teachers Union SATU has threatened legal action against the Education Department in KwaZulu-Natal over delayed stationery delivery to schools. The union says it's inundated with calls from principals who say they are not ready to begin the 2026 academic year today. The union says it wants swift action. Nhlanhla Mabaso reports.
Teachers Union SATU says while all 11 districts received their awards for best performance in the matric class of 2025 yesterday, some schools in these districts are not able to start teaching and learning for 2026. The union says once again the province has started its academic calendar with glitches. Its provincial secretary Nomarasha Tsaluza.
On Saturday last week, we analyzed the survey because we instituted a survey because we wanted to know whether schools are ready. 2,147 school principals responded on the online survey, stating their challenges.
She says out of the affected schools, over 50% cannot proceed with teaching and learning.
And reasons of unreadiness is that they have not received stationery from the department. Those that buy for themselves have not received the norms and standards.
Aluza says she will direct the department to court demanding accountability. Meanwhile, the department said all schools should be sorted before end of the week. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Durban.
The Gauteng provincial government says there is immediate support and alternative pathways available for matriculants who did not achieve their desired results. While many matriculants were celebrating yesterday, government says it is mindful that others did not pass and is urging them to not be discouraged. Unsuccessful candidates have been encouraged to take advantage of the second chance program by either repeating subjects or the entire grade free of charge. Deputy Government Spokesperson William Baloyi.
Learners experiencing emotional distress, anxiety or disappointment are encouraged to seek support through the relevant authorities.
Agriculture Minister John Steenhuisen has declared war on foot and mouth disease that's ravaging livestock and feedlots in several provinces. He's told Parliament steps are underway to improve the country's ability to produce its own vaccines after it lost the ability to do so about 2 decades ago. Steenhuisen is expected to make a national announcement today on the strategy for the mass vaccination of the national herd. Responding to questions during debates on the medium-term budget in the National Assembly yesterday, he said adjustments had been made to the Agricultural Department to deal with the scourge of the disease.
Yes, we do currently have vaccines. They are obviously in short supply. We have orders in to have over 1 million vaccines delivered this month. We vaccinated over 1 million cattle in the last 2 months of last year. And our intention is to wage war against FMD by moving towards a vaccination to live strategy, which would see a vaccination of the entire national herd.
Steenhuisen says he's confident in following the strategy by BRICS nations like Brazil.
For the first time ever, South Africa now has a clear pathway towards FMD-free status without vaccination. It's going to be a journey, but that journey has now begun.
And at least 18 people have died in a landslide in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. The landslide took place in North Kivu province, where the Congolese state is largely absent due to the advance of the Rwanda-backed M23 militia. The DRC's east, which frequently experiences heavy rains, is no stranger to deadly landslides. A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with isolated showers expected. The temperatures are at lows of 15 and 17 degrees, peaking at highs between 26 and 29.
In the traffic in Bedford View, there's traffic pressure on the N3 north from the Gululis interchange to Moerfontein Road, and in Proteas Lane expect delays on the R558 to the N12.
The top story this hour, SATU has threatened legal action against the Education Department in KwaZulu-Natal over delayed stationery delivery to schools.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
What option, as the education minister, would you advise the parents listening to us whose children have passed or have not passed in the way that they wanted to?
It's not the end of the journey for them. And that as a department, we have the second chance matric program. We have options for rewrites, and that we really encourage learners to do this. In fact, what we've started to see is that learners who've repeated grades or had rewrites, some of them end up coming out with distinctions.
Sivuyo Kahube, the Minister of Basic Education.
Clement Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
Matric class of 2025 ready to spread your wings? Well, South African Airways wants to make your uni journey easier with an all-inclusive one-way fare from Johannesburg to Durban from 690 Rand. Joburg to Gqeberha, 655. Joburg to Cape Town, 1,144 Rand. Plus, pack more of what you need with 2 checked bags instead of 1. On sale until 12th of February. So travel by the 12th of February 2026. Book now at flysaa.com. T's and C's apply.
Let's hear from Shemaine, owner of Vovotello Linwood, why it pays to switch to OUTsurance Business Insurance.
I wish we had switched sooner. Not only was it quick and easy, but also gave us more favorable premiums.
For restaurants, pharmacies, and all other businesses. Get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to OUTsurance Business Insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Hi, this is Carol Shabalala, Hollywood Bet's brand ambassador. It's more fun when it's for fun. Playing responsibly is always a winning strategy. If you or someone you know needs help, call the South African Responsible Gambling toll-free counseling line on 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
One famous statement that always comes from the government: we are investigating. We are investigating. It's always we are investigating. Oh my word.
Morning, Bongani and team. All the best for the new year. This minister has no clue. Number one, has no clue. Number two, the whole exercise is a tick box exercise, and it's costing the taxpayer R1 trillion again for an absolutely useless process. I'm sorry to say that, but government is still just a bunch of tick box and money stealers. Dean from Centurion. Morning, Bongani. This Minister for Public Administration is just wasting our time. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. He's clueless about what is happening with these things. Anonymous, how things.
Good morning, Bongani. Can you ask the minister what about themselves as ministers? We've been hearing this thing of lifestyle audits from the president for a long time. Is he a subject of a lifestyle audit himself? Thank you.
So, I mean, you would expect the process to be quite rigorous. He seemed to flag things like properties, for example, which would be easy enough to pick up if people had declared, or at least not declared and have them. But there are all kinds of ways for people to hide their ill-gotten gains, particularly with movable assets and goods from, even things as simple as designer gear, for example, right? There's lots of ways to hide their ill-gotten gains through networks of families, friends, associates. I was hoping he was going to give me that kind of detail to say, look, we go into your home. We want to know where you got that painting from. Why do you have a Nelson Makamo painting, for example, on your salary? I mean, I was hoping for that kind of detail, right down to why do you have, Amaxhosa outfits on the salary that you earn, etc., etc. I was hoping he was going to say, we look into your spouse's information, we look into your siblings' information, because obviously they know you're going to be investigating them. If you are a corrupt official, you are not going to make sure that the money is as far away from you personally as is possible. I was hoping for that kind of detail. He didn't give it to me. So are you confident then, based on what at least the minister told us, that the lifestyle audit process does really indeed uncover wrongdoing where officials are using their positions to advantage themselves or networks around them for ill-gotten gains? Or do you think it's just another tick box exercise?
702.
What's the question?
What's the question is brought to you by Outsurance, a chance for you to win up to 3,000 Rand in cash. First, 1,000 Rand for the answer, and then a little later, 2,000 Rand if you can give us the question. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask Outsurance for 500 Rand. Let's go to Mulalu in Chawelo. Mulalu, what's today's answer, please?
Good morning, Bongani. Today's answer is 58.
Ooh, that's a cool one. Today's answer is 58. See what I did there, Mulalu? Have you got yourself a quote from Outsurance?
Yes, sir.
All right, 1,000 Rand is coming your way, all thanks to Outsurance and 702. Mulalu says the answer is 58. What, pray tell, is the question? Call us now on 011 883 0702.
EWN Sport.
Cindy Paluta is out for the morning. We welcome back Anthony Teixeira. As always, a pleasure to have you on the show. Let's talk about Man United firstly. Cindy calls them a mid-table team. Would you say that's a fair description?
I think that's perfectly fair, reasonable, and it's honest.
Because you're not a Man United fan by any chance?
No. I've been described as the polar opposite of a Man United
Yes,
fan.
I can see the glee with which you are saying and agreeing with Cindy Paluta. Okay, what you got?
Well, Man United have given former midfielder Michael Carrick the keys to Old Trafford. He's been appointed head coach until the end of the season, 17 games in the Premier League in order for them to salvage it.
We want to win games, it goes without saying. We want to win games. There's different ways of doing it, of course, different scenarios, different situations in games that you might have to play certain way, but for me it's working with the players. I love working with the players and helping them and get better, and individually, which hopefully will help the team improve and be there to support them, and I'm one of them. We're all in it together.
So we were speculating yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Carrick was always the front runner, but we thought, that axing from Real Madrid.
Could you imagine if Xavi Alonso, Liverpool diehard fan, former player, went to Old Trafford?
Yeah.
It would have been spectacular. I think he probably could help the squad, especially because Ruben Amorim already started with the back three. But I think he's destined to join Anfield at some point.
All right, I can see that.
Well, it will all start for Carrick Saturday with the Manchester derby. Speaking of City, they claimed a 2-0 win in the Carabao Cup first leg semi-final at Newcastle. Moment of contention as Antoine Semenyo looked to have scored a second on the night, however VAR ruling it out as they deemed that striker Erling Haaland was offside, a decision that took 5 minutes and 30 seconds to reach. Manager Pep Guardiola says he expects he'll get an explanation phone call from referee's chief Howard Webb.
It's a good question. Listen, when you play semi-finals or finals, this kind of thing, that win 0-1 or 0-0, 0-2, 1-1, because in these games, the little margin, the difference is so the other one. But why didn't intervene in these two games? And today was more than 6 minutes, and not even were able to discuss it with the referee to do it. But they will call me. That time they wanted to explain to me.
The semi-final this evening has Arsenal against Chelsea, while the AFCON semi-finals will also have action with hosts Morocco up against top goal scorers Nigeria. Senegal meet Egypt. Chicago Fire have added a second South African to their ranks, Puso Tijane, joining from TS Galaxy after a dazzling first half to the season where he recorded 4 goals and assists in 12 Betway Premiership games. He follows Mbekezele Mbokazi, who also made the switch this transfer window from Orlando Pirates. While in cricket, the Paarl Royals beat Durban Super Giants by 6 wickets in the SA20, winning captain David Miller.
We've tried to work on our fielding and really be together as a team, and it's definitely shown a lot in that. And then with saying that, a couple massive performances throughout, so it's been really, really good and very tough.
And World Cup winning Springbok logger Jean Klein will depart Munster after 10 years, where he's played 160 times, as well as winning the United Rugby Championship in 2023. He'll be making the switch to Premiership side Gloucester at the end of the 26th season.
As you round up your bulletin, do you know what Semenyo says?
What?
Waar is nie waar nie.
Anthony Teixeira, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
13 minutes before 8 o'clock, this EWN Traffic brought to you by South African Airways. It's nearly time to head back to university, so why hit the road when you can fly? Book now at flysaa.com. Let's catch up with what's happening in Protea Glen. Khumutso, what are you seeing there now?
Yeah, very busy there, Bongani. If you are in Protea Glen, expect heavy delays on the R558. It's backed up from Main Street, leaving Dobsonville. This is all the way towards the N12. If you can, consider Renfontaine Road or other alternative local routes inside Protea Glen. In Bedford View, there's traffic pressure on the N3 North from the Kalulis interchange to Moragfontein Road, while in the opposite direction, an accident on the N3 South is slowing down traffic. Likewise, if you come across any traffic, please send us a WhatsApp on 072-702-1702 or send us a tweet on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Getting ready for university? Let South African Airways take the pressure out of your travel. Enjoy all-inclusive one-way fares from Johannesburg to Durban from 690 Rand, Joburg to Gqeberha 655, from Johannesburg to Cape Town from 1,144 Rand. Plus, you can pack more of what you need with 2 checked bags instead of 1. It's on sale until the 12th of February, so you have to travel by the 12th of February 2026. Book now at flysaa.com. T's and C's apply.
702.
What's the question?
For 2,000 Rand in cash, all thanks to Outsurance. Please tell me what's the question if the answer is 58. Let's go to the lines and see who has it right. Let's go to Tato in Oakdean. Tato, what's the question?
Hello, Bongani. The question is, how old is American rapper James Todd Smith, who is also known as LL Cool J, turning today?
Yeah, that is absolutely the answer. Are you a fan, Tato?
Yes, I am. From the days of Mama Said Knock You Out.
I'm going to knock you out, right? He gave an extraordinary interview to the talk show host Oprah Winfrey, in which he described encountering an intruder at around 1 o'clock in the morning in his home. Tato, have a listen.
Tell us what happened.
Well, 1 o'clock in the morning, and alarm goes off, and just looked on there and said, family room. I said, family room? Family room. And so I went downstairs. I'm in my underwear, walking downstairs. And the rest is history. You know, we ended up...
it was one person?
It was one guy, and, you know, I had to subdue...
Were you armed when you came down the stairs?
No.
You didn't have anything?
No, only these arms.
Okay. Well, I just hugged you, so that's enough. So when you came down the stairs, did you expect to see anything, or were you just like, well, did the wind blow the door open, that kind of thing?
You know, you always expect it to be anything but, you know, the worst.
Yes.
And I always try to expect the best anyway. So, you know, when I walked downstairs and I saw, you know, what I saw and this guy coming at me, it was...
What did you see?
It was...
Is it like in the movie?
He was able to subdue the intruder from that interview, said LL Cool J. Tato, you walk away with 2,000 Rand in cash, all thanks to Outsurance in 702. Congratulations, mate.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
All right, LL Cool J at a cool old 58 years old, still tackling intruders in his underwear in the middle of the night.
Want to know how much money Outsurance saves 35-year-old Zanai on her car insurance?
A whopping 1,180 Rand.
That's an incredible 1,180 Rand monthly saving on Zanai's 2017 Mercedes-Benz GLA. And the out bonus she'll get?
It is close to 6,500 Rand in 3 years if I'm claim-free.
Nice. How much money could Outsurance save you? SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Need a seat? Try 7 or 5. It's your call. Want a sunroof? Make it a panoramic. Gotta have power? How does award-winning 138 kilowatt sound? The Changan CS75 Pro is big enough for the kids, smart enough for your playlist, and stylish enough for your Friday night too. Why settle when you can have it all without compromise? The Changan CS75 Pro. Drive tomorrow's SUV today. Visit changanmotors.co.za for more.
Changan, driven to evolve.
The decision to switch to Outsurance. Not only was it quick and easy, but gave us more favorable premiums and more cover.
Outsurance business insurance clients know that it pays to switch. And did you know you could get an out bonus of up to 10% of your paid premiums back for restaurants, pharmacies, and all other businesses? Get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance business insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by South African Airways. It's nearly time to head back to university. So why hit the road when you can fly? Book at flysaa.com now. Khomotso?
Thanks, Bongani. In Boysens, there's still slow-moving traffic on the M1 North as you approach the Crown interchange. In Bedford View, there's traffic pressure on the N3 North from the Gululis interchange to Morgenfontein Road, while in the opposite direction, there is an accident on the N3 South and it is slowing down traffic. Look out for those faulty traffic lights in Douglasdale at Leslie Avenue and Douglas Drive, in Edenvale at Morgenfontein Road and Van Riebeek, as well as in Kelvin at Old Pretoria Road and Northway. Likewise, if you come across any traffic, the number is 072-702-1702 or send us a tweet on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Matric class of 2025 ready to spread your wings? South African Airways makes your uni journey easier. All-inclusive one-way fares from Johannesburg to Durban from 690 Rand. Joburg to Gqeberha from 655. Joburg to Cape Town, 1,144 Rand. Plus, pack more of what you need with 2 checked bags instead of 1. On sale until the 12th of February. So travel by 12th February 2026. Book now at flysaa.com. T's and C's apply.
702.
702. What's gone viral?
With Kabazela.
And he's finally back, no longer on the beach drinking pink drinks with umbrellas. A very welcome return to Kabazela. Happy New Year.
Yeah, happy New Year to you too, Bele, and happy New Year to all our listeners. Let's hope it's a good one for 2026 for all of us. But I wasn't on the beach and I wasn't sipping pink drinks. I had a staycation, which was quite nice.
But you still had umbrellas in them, didn't you? All right, let's get straight into it. Obviously, the focus is still very much the class of 2025. Tell me about this particular learner who got 9 distinctions. You'd think with that kind of results, you know exactly what you want to do next.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen some of the top students come out with amazing results, and some of them exactly, they know what they want to do, what their career path is, what they want to study, where they're going. And then maybe, there's some people that have achieved exceptionally well, like 9 distinctions and an overall 94% in matric. But you're kind of not too sure of the path that you really want to go because you have many interests. And this brings us to one of the students whose video has gone viral out of most of the top students. His name is Caesar Gule. He's a St. John's College student, and he's been accepted into Harvard University after achieving 9 distinctions and achieving 94%. And people have been quite critical about this video of his. Let's take a listen, Bongles, and pay a particular attention towards the end of the video.
My name is Caesar Gule from St. John's College, and I was very privileged to get 9 distinctions with a 94% average. I'm planning to study at Harvard University in August, and part of my reasons to go there is because they kind of have a multidisciplinary program, and my interest is to really do a bunch of different things because I'm not entirely sure of one key thing that I'm interested in at the moment. So being there, I am going to be majoring within the law and politics sort of field of things, just looking at how societies are sort of governed, but also looking at theatre and literature because I'm very much a creative person and I have enjoyed my time at St. John's, just being on the stage or being in an AP English classroom. So those two sort of fields are definitely like my biggest interest at the moment that I'm looking to explore that side.
Now, people, when they heard theatre and literature, they were very critical and they were like, really, if you've got 9 distinctions, why would that be your interest? It's like, if you get 9 distinctions, why would anybody want to go into theatre or do literature after matric? Which I found quite interesting. And that's been quite a conversation online on X. And people just saying, one of the comments here, congratulations, young man, but not theatre, my boy. Many of those, Bongles. 9 distinctions, and you want to do theatre? Oh, my boy. Lots and lots of those kind of comments. So I wanted to put that out there to our 702 family this morning. And what are your thoughts? I mean, did you or have your children perhaps done exceptionally well in matric? And you would think, okay, well, you've got 9 distinctions. You're going to go into the traditional, in inverted commas, kind of subjects, like I'm going to study medicine, I'm going to study law, I'm going to study to be a CA. But maybe you just didn't, or they didn't have a clue in terms of what path they wanted to go down, or they wanted to do something very untraditional, like let's go do theatre, or let's go do literature, or let's go do, something other than the most popular ones for intelligent children, so to speak, right? So I'd love to hear that. And then if you didn't have an idea of what you wanted to do, what did you do? And what was that moment where you kind of figured out, okay, I've kind of now know the path that I want to go down to, and this is where I went.
What influenced your study or career path in the end? That's what we'd like to know. How do you make that decision? I've got a grade 11 in my life and not still sure really what comes next after school. And we're having that discussion, in fact, just last night. How do you make the decision? And how do you as a parent guide your youngster to make the right decision? As far as this particular chap is concerned, my view is the more the merrier. We need bright people in the arts. That's my view. What's yours?
702. Feedback with Baphelile Sambo.
Baphelile Sambo, did you know right away what you wanted to do?
No. Journalism fell on my lap. I wanted to do something in the medical space, but somebody convinced me that actually this is where you need to go, into the journalism space, and I'm glad I did. I'm glad I did.
Look at you, medicine and journal. You could still be a medical journalist. There you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, one day.
More medical stories from you then.
I hope so. Shifting our gears now to our feedback on our lifestyle audits conversation with Minister Buthelezi. 702 lenders are not holding back. They feel that this is another exercise that will drain taxpayers' money. Some are saying that the entire process will eventually fizzle out and quietly die down.
And that's the feedback.
And that's the feedback that I have for you, Bongani, this morning.
You got a whole page there, so I thought you had a whole lot of
No, I did, but I'm looking at the time, and I'm like, yeah, this
always
is it.
Conscious of time.
Yes.
Let's not keep Sifisa Zulu waiting. No, we can't do that. So this Eyewitness News is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now. and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand.
This is EWN.
Adverse weather affects the first day of school in Limpopo, and police look into the devices of the man arrested in connection with the murder of DJ Waras. Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Basic Education Minister Sifiwe Gwagube says she's concerned about the impact of floods in Limpopo as schools open today. Some schools in the province have been advised not to open due to safety of pupils and teachers because more rain is expected. Gwagube says Mpumalanga also remains a concern for her department.
I am hoping that the first day of school goes very well for all the provinces. I'm particularly worried about Limpopo and Mpumalanga because there's quite a bad weather.
Mongezi Koko has more from Limpopo.
The annual tradition of polished shoes, crisp-ironed school shirts and school bags packed with newly covered books is a distant dream for hundreds of learners forced to stay home due to flooding. Persistent rainfall, submerged bridges and impassable roads have prompted the Limpopo Education Department to keep schools closed in the Vembe and Mopani districts, which remain the hardest hit. Education Department spokesperson Mike Maringa.
4 of education districts are located, being Vembe East, West, Mopani East and parts of Mopani West. We urge parents to be cautious.
Authorities say it's still unclear when the rain will ease, when conditions will stabilize and when schools in the affected areas will be able to reopen. Monkey Ziko Ko, Eyewitness News, Giani.
Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana says he wants legal challenges to the National Health Insurance to be settled out of court. He's taken a swipe at medical associations who are challenging the introduction of the Act, saying the move will further delay universal access to healthcare. During debates on the medium-term budget in the National Assembly yesterday, Godongwana also blamed the Zuma administration for squandering money he says could have been used to improve the health and education sectors. Lindsay Dentlinker reports.
There are at least 5 pending cases in the High and Constitutional Courts to challenge the National Health Insurance Act. But Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana believes solutions can be found to address the concerns of medical associations who've launched the cases.
The interesting thing is that both protagonists in court proclaim that they support universal coverage and access. It is my submission that these parties must meet and craft a settlement.
Godongwana says the current administration is not to blame for the challenges being faced by the health and education sectors.
Under Zuma, both education and health lost 243 billion rand to fund state-captured SOEs.
Godongwana says it's untrue that government is not employing graduate doctors, with at least 300 appointments made in KwaZulu-Natal. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
Cell phones confiscated from the man who allegedly orchestrated the murder of Warwick Stock, popularly known as DJ Waras, have been sent for forensic analysis and downloading. Taxi boss from Soweto, Victor Majola, was arrested 6 days after Stock was killed in Joburg CBD last month. Majola appeared in the Johannesburg Magistrates Court yesterday. CCTV footage allegedly captured him giving hand signals to the shooter by pointing out Stock. In opposing his bail application, investigating officer A.B. Muntwedi presented reasons why Majola shouldn't be granted bail despite pleading him his innocence.
Community also will even lose trust in the police and the justice system, lordship, seeing that the person that is orchestrating the murder or the crime is being released because of we are looking for the main shooter. The main shooter will be arrested. He's the one that orchestrated everything, that plan with his girlfriend, and that was present on the day of the shooting, lordship.
And at least 22 people have died after a crane at an under-construction high-speed rail line in Thailand collapsed. Local authorities say the crane fell onto a passenger train this morning. The train then derailed, injuring more than 30 people. Gold is trading at $4,578.81 an ounce. The rand is at 16.36 to the dollar, 21.99 to the pound, 19.05 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $65.29 a barrel.
In the traffic in Lenasia, there's bumper-to-bumper traffic on the R554 to Chris Hani Road, and in Boysens, traffic remains sluggish on the M1 North towards the Crown Interchange.
And in your sport, AFCON semi-finals this evening will have Egypt up against Senegal while the hosts Morocco meet Nigeria. Carabao Cup first leg semi-final taking place in London between Chelsea and Arsenal. And Henk Klotteren goes into stage 10 of the Dakar Rally, fourth overall, 6 minutes and 13 seconds off of the leader.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with isolated showers and thunder showers expected. The temperatures will peak at highs between 26 and 28 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Basic Education Minister Siviwe Kwagube says she's concerned about the impact of floods in Limpopo as schools open today.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
Don't blow your paycheck on high car insurance premiums when you could be saving with Outsurance. So how much does 35-year-old Zanai save?
A whopping 1,180 rand.
That's an incredible 1,180 rand monthly saving on Zanai's 2017 Mercedes-Benz GLA. Get a quote now and see how much Outsurance could save you. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142.
With Outsurance, I'm saving a whole 729 rand.
729 rand is a sweet saving on 32-year-old Parushka's 2020 Haval H2. And after 3 claim-free years, you get an out bonus.
Yes, I'm ready for that out bonus.
You also get benefits like 24/7 roadside assistance and loads more. Get a quote now and see how much money Outsurance could save you. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Licensed insurer in FSP. TCs and information online. Limits apply.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
7 minutes after to breakfast. Welcome to the program. If you've just joined us a little earlier on, we spoke to the Minister of Public Service and Administration, Mzamo Buthelezi, addressing concerns over government's lifestyle audit program. We wanted to know why it is that after an estimated 9,000 audits, so few officials have been flagged for further investigation. Certainly nobody dismissed and none referred for criminal proceedings. And the minister says it's indicative that, in fact, there's a good story to tell when it comes to the public service. Public servants are not nearly as corrupt as the media would suggest, is how he framed it. Are you convinced, or do you think that those who are dipping their paws into the kitty have found much cleverer ways to hide their ill-gotten gains? Are you convinced it's working, or is it just another tick box exercise to say, well, you see, we have looked, there's nothing to see there. Up next, we'll speak to the Deputy Minister of Higher Education, Dr. Mimi Martha Gondwe, who wants to warn school leavers and parents to verify that the institutions where they are registering their kids after matric are indeed legitimate institutions, especially when you want to do some of the more creative careers, whether it's design or advertising or marketing, those kinds of courses. Not every college that offers a qualification is offering the real deal.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Kamazela wants to know, when you finished your high schooling, how quickly did you come to a decision about what you wanted to do next? Was it influenced by how well you did in your final matric year, the number of A's or distinctions you got, or your averages, and so on? Dokanya Mtambo, did you know immediately what it is that you wanted to do, and did you do it?
I, for the longest of times, Bongani, knew exactly what I wanted to do. I didn't go on to do it. I wanted to study medicine, and that was my biggest love. I applied for medicine, had been accepted to
Dr. Mtambo.
Does that not have a ring to it?
I can see it.
Absolutely has a ring to it. I got accepted to VIT to study it when I finished matric.
Yeah.
But the conditions of your provisional acceptance to varsity for most courses, in fact, will always be that the marks that you applied with don't shift. I mean, they can improve, but never drop. I think it may have been my physics, I think it was my physics that dropped by I think it was like 3 or 4%. And they withdrew the offer. I was so heartbroken. And then somewhere along the way, journalism found me, because I actually didn't study journalism immediately after.
Yeah.
I went on to study geology and chemistry at UJ. So you see, journalism picked me up along the way. I think it was my calling.
You were going to study
But
medicine.
I took the long way around to what now is my calling.
Well, I tell you what, medicine's loss is journalism's gain, because look at you now, right? Khumutso, did you immediately know what you wanted to study?
Yeah, I've always wanted to be a therapist.
Ah.
Yeah, the R is so encouraging. Do you think I could still pursue it?
Well, it depends on what kind of therapy.
I wasn't quite sure.
Could be a massage therapist.
Oh, no touching. Just verbal. I would have wanted to sit on the other side and hear you tell me all about your life.
Psychology is something you could still pursue.
I think I should. Yeah, I
know
think
so
should.
many people who've pursued that kind of thinking a little later on in life, that career avenue a little later on in life.
Do you think it would be rewarding to my career?
But we'll miss your voice on the
Whoa,
radio.
Come to my sessions.
There you go. I feel like I want to tell you everything now.
Stop it.
It started with my mother.
No.
EWN Traffic.
It's 12 minutes after 8 o'clock. Let's catch up with the roads. How are we looking, Khumutso?
Well, Bongs, in Polshof, you can anticipate some delays on Witkoppen Road between Winnie Mandela Drive and Rivonia Road, and this is due to an accident, so please approach with caution there. In Boysens, there's still the slow-moving traffic on the M1 North as you approach the Crown Interchange, as well as on the M2 West from Heidelberg Road. And lastly, if you are leaving Lenasia, there is bumper-to-bumper traffic on the R554 to Chris Honey Road. If you do come across any traffic, please do send us a WhatsApp on 072-702-1702 or send us a tweet on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
702
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Morning, Bongani. I would like to know who is conducting, if at all, the lifestyle audits. Is it an inside job, people from inside government checking their own people, or is it an external entity? But I'm afraid the minister this morning portrayed himself as so stupid that he doesn't even know he's stupid. Theo Pretoria.
No, Theo
Morning,
in Pretoria.
Bongos.
I've got to come in there. I don't think we can use, firstly, that kind of language. I think the minister acquitted himself, in fact, quite well. There were one or two questions that I think perhaps could have been answered a little bit better, but let's play the ball and not the man. You can disagree with him. You can make your points clear in terms of what it is that didn't impress you. But let's not use any pejoratives, and let's certainly not use that kind of language. Let's not attack the person himself. I don't think that's acceptable.
Morning, Bongles. Alex from Pretoria here. You know, if you can actually do investigation on businesses that officials are having, as well as their kids or siblings, you will actually find a whole lot of worms in it, because all of those guys, they use those businesses to launder money and also look at the customers.
Good morning, Bongani. So when it comes to making decisions about how buying a car, I bought a Volvo C30 many moons ago, and that was because I loved it in Twilight. I thought it was the cutest car ever, and I just went to the dealership and I asked for it, and thank the Lord I qualified at the age of 22.
Wow. At the age of 22, because you saw the car in a movie. That's a bit of a flex. Come on, that's a bit of a flex. We're certainly going to continue the conversation about lifestyle audits and the process that is undertaken to conduct those investigations.
Join us.
Let's walk the talk.
This is 702.
All right, we're talking about knowing what decisions to make once you've qualified, or at least once you've completed your matric. There are many families and indeed many students who find themselves in the lurch after registering for any number of institutions that turn out to be bogus institutions. And this is the warning now from the Department of Higher Education. Deputy Minister Dr. Mimi Gondwe joins us now. A pleasure to have you on the show once again, Deputy Ministers. This really is a concern, particularly for school leavers. You're accepted at an institution, you want to study design, perhaps advertising, or any number of careers. And to your horror, you find at the end of your qualification, or at least at some point, that the institution is not registered. That is a worry.
Good morning, Bongani, and compliments of the new year to you and your listeners on 702. Thank you so much for having me. Indeed, it is a worry that these bogus colleges or institutions of higher education, private institutions of higher education, continue to thrive. And I think one of the reasons why they continue to thrive is that they pretend to be legitimate. And they use gimmicks, they offer huge discounts and purport to offer programs that appear to be in high demand. And especially at this time of the year, they target vulnerable and desperate students and parents who, are desperate to get an opportunity, post leaving school. And what's even more worrying is that they have moved online, and they commit fraud by purporting to offer, online courses and qualifications that are recognized outside the country, when in natural fact, they're not recognized outside the country. And so I just want to echo what the minister said yesterday in his statement when he congratulated the matric class of 2025. He warned against bogus colleges and, encouraged students, prospective students and their parents alike to be more vigilant and to do that bit of due diligence, Bongani, that bit of homework in trying to determine whether a college or a private institution of higher education is indeed legitimate and registered. So registration lies within our purview as the department. It's our responsibility. And when it comes to accreditation, that speaks more to the program or the qualifications that a college or a private institution of higher education is offering. So, when it comes to skills development programs, for example, you would want to, check with our quality assurance bodies. In this instance, it would be QCT or our CETAs. When it comes to your higher certificates and your diplomas and your degrees, you would have to check with the Council on Higher Education whether that particular, program of qualification that you want to, embark on is accredited with the relevant, quality assurance body. And then Umalusi would accredit your college programs. So as a department, our responsibility, and I want to emphasize this, is ensuring that they are registered because, private colleges and private institutions of higher education, Bongani, play an important role, and that's why the Constitution actually operates their existence and their existence and their operation. But they have to operate and exist within the confines of the law. You will know that we had a total of 927,000 learners that wrote the NSC in 2025, and we had 345,000 achieving a bachelor's pass. But our universities can only accommodate approximately 230,000 first-time students, and so we really appreciate the role that the legitimate, the registered, private institutions of higher education and colleges play, and so does the Constitution. And we just want to appeal to students and parents to do that bit of due diligence and homework.
Minister, what censure do they face, the bogus institutions? Presumably you work with law enforcement when they have been identified. If I were to open Bongani College for, advertising and I'm not registered, what censure would I face?
Okay, so let me start by just perhaps highlighting some of the red flags, and then we move on to the censure part. So, indicators possible. So I like to contrast a registered, legitimate college with one that is bogus. So a registered and a legitimate college, for example, Bongani would display its registration and accreditation details visibly on its premises. When you get into the foyer, into the reception area, you're able to see, okay, the college is registered and there's the registration certificate. You're able to see which qualifications and programs it's accredited to offer. And then one thing you know that you will be obvious is the level of professionalism on the part of the staff, of the teaching and support staff at the particular college or the private institution of higher education. You also have a right, to request to see the qualifications of the teaching staff. I'll give you an example. When we've undertaken our bogus awareness campaigns, we went to a particular college, I think it was in KZN, and we found that a former student was now teaching at the college without really having, the qualifications to teach. So it's very important that you request to see the qualifications of the teaching staff. Look at the quality of the contractual agreement that you're expected to enter into, with the college or the private institution. Does it allow you to, for example, to get back your registration fee if you're not happy? Does it, what are the nature of the terms and conditions? Look at whether there's an assessment policy in place at that particular college. Because we find that one of the hallmarks of bogus colleges is that there isn't, regular assessments being conducted. And that's where, you would also have to look at the general quality of teaching and learning. Are there regular classes taking place?
All right.
Are there systems and processes in place?
All right. Deputy Minister, I'm gonna have to hurry you along in terms of
okay, and then
time.
let me get to the censure. So typically what happens is that if you suspect that a college or a private institution of higher education is bogus or illegal, then we encourage you to please call the department's call center. Call the call center to report that, this particular college or private institution of higher education is, you suspect that it's bogus. And then what we do an own investigation to establish, whether, it's on our register, because we keep a register of
sure.
registered
So let's say we've
and
got to that point. It's not registered. What happens to the people who run it?
Okay, so we typically issue a warning letter. And why we do that, Bongani, we want to take a more developmental approach because we know that there's students that are already registered there. We don't want to interrupt teaching and learning. So we give a college or a private institution of higher education a warning letter to say comply. If you continue to operate with impunity, then we'll have to open a case with SAPS. But what we're doing now with our awareness campaigns is that we're moving along with SAPS, we're moving along with Home Affairs, we're moving along with the Department of Labor. And you may be asking why Home Affairs and Labor? Because we've picked up that coupled with the illegal existence of these colleges or private institutions of higher education is, a number of illegal activities. For example, picked up sometimes in some instances there's money laundering taking place, there's a flouting of immigration laws, labor laws. And so we've taken this collaborative approach so that we are more effective. In fact, now what we're trying to do as well is to ensure that we capacitate SAPs so that they know that they can then go once we're gone. We're working together with municipalities as well, trying to capacitate municipalities.
All right, so you give them a warning letter, and then what happens? Then they comply, hopefully?
Yes, if they so I said we give them a warning letter. If they continue to operate with impunity, then we open a case with SAPs, and then the matter ends up in court. And then if an institution is found to be guilty, it will then be shut down.
All right. Appreciate your time. Deputy Minister of Higher Education there, Dr. Mimi Gondwe, warning parents in particular and families, make sure whatever college you are signing up your matriculant to study at is a registered and legitimate institution.
702, The World View.
With Adam Gilchrist.
Right, let's catch up with news from elsewhere in the world. A very good morning to you, Adam. Let's talk about these garbage landslides in the Philippines.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, a natural landslide feels bad enough. There's something in me that says a man-made landslide is even worse somehow. But whatever, we know that people have lost their lives in this collapsed landfill in Cebu City in the Philippines. There were 100 workers on site at the time. And at this stage, 11 people have lost their lives. 12 people have been pulled out of the debris, injured. And we're talking tons of debris. So it's not just a few packets and some old crisp wrappers or something. It really is just mounds of rotting rubbish mixed up with earth and rainwater and you name it. But they think there might be 20 people still missing in that tons of debris of collapsed landfill. And 4 days on, this is how long it's been now, 4 days of the search and rescue, hope must be fading for those 20 missing.
Gosh, we've seen astronauts bobbing up and about in space, but this next story gives new meaning to the term spaced out.
Yeah, because it shows that when astronauts go up into space and then come back down again, something happens with their brains. They change position and shape. The brains still stay in the head. They don't go somewhere else, but they move upwards and backwards within the skull. Following space flight. So what they did was, these researchers at the National Academy of Sciences in America, they looked at MRI scans from 26 astronauts who'd been up into space, including to the International Space Station, and compared that with 24 of us Earth dwellers and found there were huge differences. As they put it, regional non-linear lateral deformations, which I couldn't quite get my head around at one stage. My brain perhaps can't quite cope with that sort of stuff. But what they're saying is that there's something happens to our brains. Now, whether it changes the function of our brains is the follow-up question. Do we gain or do we lose, cranially speaking, if we go into space?
I'll keep my feet firmly on the ground. Thank you very much, Adam. Happy New Year, at least it is in a tiny part of Wales.
Yeah, if I may be the first, or possibly not, to say Bladen Newith Da. Happy New Year in very West Wales, in the tiny village of Cwm Gwan in Pembrokeshire in West Wales. It's still, there's something sort of stubborn about this, the stubbornness of the Welsh. They still regard the New Year on the Julian calendar, abandoned by most in 1752, but I understand still observe the Julian calendar in Ethiopia, Eritrea, and parts of Eastern Europe that are Orthodox Church, at any rate, if not the sort of general secular society. So what they're saying is that, this is an old tradition, let's keep it going. And actually, it's a reason for going to an otherwise forgettable village in West Wales, isn't it? To go and enjoy their New Year. What's more, they don't just do 1 day, they're doing 4 days of this. So there'll be another 3 days of the Welsh New Year in Cwm Gwan, in which children go door to door singing verses in Welsh at you. As long as you've got a mouthful of spittle, you can join in, I'm sure.
Happy New Year indeed. Adam Gilchrist with this morning's Worldview.
EWN Business.
Let's catch up with business news now, 28 after 8. Nokanya Mdambo, Capitec continues to be a good story.
It certainly does, Bongani. This time around, it's nearing the 500 billion rand valuation as it aims at the business banking sector. The business is now 15 billion rand shy of breaching that mark. The group's stock has surged more than 200% over the past 5 years, valuing the Stellenbosch-based lender at 485 billion rand on the JSE as of yesterday. This is the second only to First Rand, which breached that milestone in December. Standard Bank is valued at 475 billion, and it's also poised to reach that mark later this year. Absa is about half of that mark after registering a strong rally since the appointment of Kenny Fihla as Group CEO last year. And Bongani, you of course have him a little later. That's Mr. Fihla at the corporates that care sector in
about 20 minutes.
20 minutes, yeah.
Yeah. Maize, the price plunging?
Yeah, the prices have dropped between 40% and 50% compared to the same time last year. According to market data from Grain SA, the spot price of white maize stood at 3,506 rands per tonne this month, down nearly 50% from a year ago. The decline is expected to bring some relief to consumers in the coming months as lower input costs feed through to food prices. Several factors behind that sharp decline, including that the world has had a record maize production year, Bongani.
So mop up this year, hey?
I suppose.
Where's the rand? Not quite pub?
No, not at all.
More bright than pub?
More bright than pub at 16.36 to the dollar, 19.05 to the euro, 21.99 to the pound. Gold is trading at $4,632 an ounce. Platinum at $2,429. The price of Brent crude at $65.27. Stephen Crotus will bring you the very, very latest later in the afternoon.
Straight to the news desk at 8:30. Svisa Zulu, good morning again.
Morning, Bongani. It's back to school for pupils across the country, but some it's their very first day, and all eyes are on grade 1 learners who today make their first step into their long schooling careers. EWN caught up with a few first-timers to see how they're feeling about big school.
Hello everybody, I'm so excited with my clothes. I'm happy to be in my new school. Hi, I'm Paula Tandanana. I'm starting grade 1 this year and I'm excited to go to grade 1 and be older. So I packed my bag, get dressed, everything, brush my teeth and don't be like.
And grade 8 learners are also in for a milestone year, starting high school in 2026. Some bright-eyed, ambitious grade 8s shared their expectations for this academic year.
My name is Yashakan, and I'm going to start grade 8. I'm mostly looking forward to the blazer ceremony because they look so professional, and I can't wait to wear one. And another thing I'm looking forward to is the RCL.
Hi, my name is Misha and I'm starting high school. Excited to meet new people, and one day I hope to study law accounting.
Basic Education Minister Sivu Kwahube, on the other hand, says she is in discussions with the National Treasury to determine how money can be moved within the department's budget to accommodate grade R at all schools. The Basic Education Laws Amendment Act, which came into effect last year, makes it mandatory for schools to offer grade R. Answering questions during consideration of the Adjustments Appropriation Bill in the National Assembly, Kwahube says no additional allocation has been made to support the additional grade.
We are obviously concerned about the fact that we have not received additional funding for grade R, and so we have to try and help provinces buffer that need.
In KwaZulu-Natal, Teachers Union SATU has threatened legal action against the Provincial Education Department over delayed stationery deliveries at schools. The union says it's inundated with calls from principals who say they are not ready to begin the 2026 academic year. Nhlanhla Mabaso reports.
Teachers Union SATU says while all 11 districts received their awards for best performance in the matric class of 2025 yesterday, some schools in these districts are not able to start teaching and learning for 2026. The union says once again the province has started its academic calendar with glitches. Its provincial secretary Nomarasha Kaluza.
On Saturday last week, we analyzed the survey because we instituted a survey because we wanted to know whether schools are ready. 2,147 school principals responded on the online survey stating their challenges.
She says out of the affected schools, over 50% cannot proceed with teaching and learning.
And reasons of unreadiness is that they have not received stationery from the department. Those that buy for themselves have not received the norms and standards.
Kaluza says she will drag the department to court demanding accountability. Meanwhile, the department said all schools should be sorted before end of the week. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Durban.
And the United Nations says 2025 was the deadliest year for civilians in Ukraine since 2022. The UN's Human Rights Monitoring Mission in Ukraine says the conflict-related violence killed at least 2,514 civilians last year. This is compared with 2,088 in 2024 and 1,974 in 2023. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky says overnight Russian strikes killed 4 people in Kharkiv and left several hundred thousand households without power in and around Kyiv amid freezing temperatures. A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with isolated showers and thunder showers expected today. The temperatures will peak at highs between 26 and 28.
If you are in pause off, delays are building up on Witkoppen Road between Winnie Mandela Drive and Rivonia Road, and this is due to an accident. Look out for those faulty traffic lights in Calvin at Old Pretoria Road and Northway.
The top story this hour, it's back to school for pupils across the country.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
we're quick to celebrate the success of the matriculants, but we also need to keep in mind those who did not do so well.
Absolutely. We have so many matriculants that may be looking at their social media and saying, why was that not me? So we have to take those ones that are a little bit unhappy right now as well into account.
And what is your advice around that?
We need to lead with empathy. We have to avoid comparisons with siblings or even friends or neighbors. We have to remind our children that they are more than their results.
Roshni Parbosita.
The Midday Report.
With Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
Selling your car this new year? Well, We Buy Cars makes it quick and easy. Simply complete the form on webuycars.co.za to get the best offer in minutes. Then visit your nearest pod or branch, or have We Buy Cars come to you. Ready for a new ride? Browse thousands of budget-friendly vehicles online or in-store today. We Buy Cars, the quickest way to buy or sell.
You won't believe how much money Outsurance saves 40-year-old Rafiq on his car insurance.
I saved so much money. 899. That's not small change. It's more than 50% that I saved from my previous insurer.
That's an impressive saving on Rafiq's 2017 Nissan Navara 4x4. And after 3 claim-free years, he gets an out bonus. How much money could Outsurance save you? SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Licensed insurer in FSP. TCs and information online.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Can you ask the minister that what's happening with this flat school? The building, Joburg, Captain Park, wherever you see the school in the city building. They are not even registered. Why? Why the schools there? Even the college.
Good morning, Daddy Bingwa. My story is a little bit different in terms of career choice, and I hope it motivates somebody out there who didn't do it so well. I wanted to study engineering, and my marks were not that good, so I got a scholarship to study a business degree. So last year, I finished my MBA. So it might not look good now for some of them, but it will work for their good. Thank you.
Hi, Bongos. It's been 27 years since I was in that position. I studied a Bachelor of Commerce, and I am now an attorney. So from BCom accounting to law. It was an exciting journey.
More Bongi and Gabazela, Flores here from the beautiful Western Cape. Man, let me tell you, as a child, we were raised very strict. 6 o'clock in the house, no movies, no nothing. And as soon as I finished my matric, I chose a career path that will take me out of the house just so that I can have some freedom. So I went to the army, did very well for myself. And yeah, I went to all 9 provinces in South Africa. So yeah, and today I am a community developer, and yeah, it has taken me abroad and everything. So I think my choice of career path was not too bad. Have a good job. Bye-bye.
Indeed, and it just goes to show, I mean, yeah, we celebrate all those who get the distinctions and, you know, the merits awards and all the recognition they deserve, but some don't do well in matric, right? But it doesn't mean it's the end. Even if you didn't pass, even if you didn't get accepted with that provisional offer you were given by that university, it is not the end. You can always come back. And sometimes the scenic route is so much more interesting.
EWN Sport.
Let's catch up with the world of sport now. Anthony Teixeira in for Cindy Paluta. The Africa Cup of Nations is certainly a big story today.
It is indeed, Bongani. We will start in Morocco with the Final Four in action this evening in the semi-finals. Up first at 7 p.m, former Liverpool teammates Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah will return to the field, only this time as opponents, as 2021 winners Senegal play the record winners Egypt. 10 p.m, the hosts Morocco will hope to reach a first final since 2004 as they come up against the only side to have won all of their matches so far at the tournament, Nigeria. Super Eagles captain Alex Iwobi reflected on the created community within the squad.
I feel like the difference is the sense of brotherhood, family environment that we've created for each other. The team have been so strong, but at the same time, the team was young and we were learning about each other. I feel like right now, everybody's entering their prime. Everyone's doing well respectfully for their clubs, and you can see the joy and the chemistry that we have when we're playing for our country.
Meanwhile, the Carabao Cup first leg semi-final this evening will see a London derby at Stamford Bridge as Chelsea host Arsenal at 10 p.m.
When am I supposed to sleep?
I mean, you could sleep through the game. It probably will be boring. Holders Newcastle beaten at home 2-0 by Man City. Michael Carrick will also be the Man United head coach until the end of the season, while Puso Tichane has departed TS Galaxy and will link up with Mbokazi at MLS side Chicago Fire. Moving now to cricket, where the Paarl Royals are up to second in the SA20 after their 6-wicket win over the Durban Super Giants. They recorded the highest ever run chase at Boland Park after beating them and chasing down a 187-run target, securing a nail-biting win on the very final delivery of the innings. Here's captain David Miller.
Given us this position after 7 games, I think we would have definitely taken that and run with it, because just looking at the experience in our team, we don't have the experience like the other teams. But I think what we've done really, really well is we've been really competitive and we've just made sure that we stay in our lane.
This afternoon, the Joburg Super Kings will be looking to stop the rot and pick up a first win in 3 outings as they head to the Sunrisers Eastern Cape. Meanwhile, the Bangladesh Cricket Board have doubled down on not playing the T20 World Cup matches inside of India, citing security concerns for its players and the worsening political ties between the neighbouring countries. They're scheduled to play 3 group games in Kolkata and 1 in Mumbai, while the International Cricket Council have held discussion regarding the matter but are yet to reach a resolution. And at the Dakar Rally, South Africa's Henk Latergan heads into stage 10 with 6 minutes and 13 seconds to make up on the leader Nani Roma. Anthony Teixeira, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
All right, let's catch up with the roads. It's not been a bad morning, all things considered. You were talking about issues in the Polshof area earlier.
Yes.
What's going on?
Thank you, Bong. So in Polshof, delays are building up on Woodkopen Road. This is between Mandela Drive and Rivonia Road, and it is due to an accident. In the opposite direction, there's also another accident in the same area, but this is on the N1 South, and this is just after Rivonia Road. If you're leaving Alexandra, traffic is congested on the N3 South. This is as you head towards the Galulis interchange. And lastly, traffic lights are out in Rand Park Ridge at Beyers-Naudé and the N1 North. If you do come across any other traffic, please do send us a WhatsApp on 072-702-1702 or send us a tweet on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Getting ready for university? Let South African Airways take the pressure out of your travel. Enjoy all-inclusive one-way fares from Johannesburg to Durban from 690 Rand, Joburg to Gqeberha from 655, and from Johannesburg to Cape Town, 1,144 Rand. Plus, pack more of what you need with 2 checked bags instead of 1. On sale until 12th February. Travel by 12th February 2026. Book now at flysaa.com. T's and C's apply.
The team's on a roll today. Let me focus on payroll. Duty calls in the kitchen. That's why I have a business insurer that is agile and on the ball all the time on all things. I chose My Way Business Insurance, getting 24/7 emergency service and saving on my premiums, plus my business assist to handle my admin.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's and standard rates apply. My Way. Live your way.
Hi, this is Alia Itzebet, Hollywood Bets brand ambassador. A reminder that you can still shoot for the stars while playing responsibly. If you or someone you know needs help, call the South African Responsible Gambling toll-free counselling line on 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Hi. Good morning, Bongani. Hi. When it comes to VAR, I even myself, Bongani, am confused. I watched the game yesterday. I didn't see anything there. The guys from Newcastle were pushing the guy
for Manchester City, but the guy tapped the ball. I don't know what it is. He didn't push him. The other guy was pushing. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. They are more confusing now. Thanks. This is Patrick in Pierre.
Don't get me started, Patrick, on even whether we should call it VAR or VAR to begin with. But a lot of people will say that VAR doesn't always tell IVAR.
Coming up
on the Clement Manyatela Show
on 702.
It's 8:45. Clement Manyatela is in studio to tell us what's on his show this morning. Firstly, I've got to ask you the Kabazela question. Did you know immediately after matric what it is you wanted to do?
Oh, no, my dear. I wanted to be so many things. I wanted to be a gynecologist because it sounded fancy, even though I didn't pass maths with an A or B. So I was being delusional, basically. Then I wanted to be I wanted to study biological sciences at VETS, which I was accepted for. Thank God there was a scandal in Mpumalanga with a school that cheated. This matric paper was leaked. So they withheld some of our results for mathematics. So VETS couldn't accept me at the time. Only TUT could, which meant I had to go and study TV production for a year before I went to UP to study journalism. So I didn't know I even wanted to be a journalist in grade 12.
And look at you now. So tell us what all that great learning will serve us on the show today.
Coming up on the show, we're going to talk about back to school. Are you relieved that the kids are back to school? Let's be honest, guys. Honestly, those people can be terrorizing and exhausting. So I know there are parents out there who are relieved that the kids are back to school. So
in some ways,
Yeah.
so my daughter's in grade 11. I'm relieved she's back at school because it means her social calendar is going to calm down a bit.
Oh, was she busy?
It's the fetching
You were doing
and the
drop-offs.
dropping and yo.
So I'm going to ask the parents how they feel about that. We're also going to talk about the military drills that we're doing with Iran, China and Russia, because Iran may be withdrawing.
We suddenly thought maybe that's not a good idea.
I mean, really? Yeah. And this happens at the time as the U.S. House of Representatives is passing that AGOA bill. It's going to the Senate. The timing is definitely off. So we'll talk about it on the open line. And then at 10 o'clock, the MEC of Education, Matume Chilwani, joins us to talk about the first day of school for the academic year. And as usual, there are some pupils that are still not placed. So what's the solution? And then at 10:30, we do our conversation with Nedbank to discuss infrastructure development and investment and partnerships and how critical that is for the growth of our economy. 11 o'clock, we do our listener's choice feature. Today, we're discussing savings plans for 2026. And then we wrap up the show at 11:30 with the sharing space. Would you accept or allow your partner to go on holiday with their ex and their child without you?
For the why?
Well, you'll find out at 11:30.
I might just call in. Clement Manyatela between 9 and 12.
Find your fix in 2026 with 30% of all domestic flights from FlySafair. Whether you're a golf course roamer, wineland stroller, or seaside goer, let FlySafair help fuel your latest obsession this year. The sale ends at midnight for travel until 24 October, which means you can book ahead and fill your year with fun. Get to flysafair.co.za now and grab your next hit of adventure with 30% off all domestic flights. FlySafair, for the love of flying. T's and C's apply.
At Richfield, we don't just offer degrees, we open doors to a learning experience of a lifetime. Your education should be about growth you can feel, skills you can use, and support from your first class to your final graduation. Study online or at one of our 8 premium campuses. We support you with job-ready skills and a world-class curriculum. Apply at richfield.ac.za. Richfield, your future enriched.
Whether it is a CCMA referral, problems with a mechanic, unfair blacklisting, or an uncontested divorce, Clientele Legal offers professional legal services to all South Africans. Our plans are affordable, and you receive up to 745,000 Rand worth of legal services per year. We cover civil, criminal, and labor-related matters. Our nationwide legal teams are standing by to support you 24 hours a day. Plus, all plans include a 5,000 Rand bail benefit. Join today. SMS LEGAL to 48721. That's legal to 48721. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
702 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
I always say this segment of the week is probably one of my favorites, corporates that care. The idea is really to promote and encourage corporate leaders and really all citizens to walk the talk for a better South Africa. And I'm pleased to tell you that this morning we're in conversation with the Group CEO of ABSA, Kenny Fihla. And we do this on Wednesdays, as I say, to highlight efforts of companies and brands dedicated to building our country. Corporates That Care is a Prime Media Cares initiative with 702 and Prime Media Outdoor. So, Kenny Fihla is, as I say, the Group CEO of ABSA, and he's leading ABSA's purpose-driven approach, where, of course, they want corporate citizenship to sit at the heart of their strategy. And one of the causes they're championing is the revitalization of Johannesburg CBD through the Jozi My Jozi partnership. And really the idea is to empower young entrepreneurs. And they're doing this through the Youth Innovation Challenge program. To tell us a little bit more about that, it's a pleasure to have you back on the show. Kenny Fihla, thank you so much for your time, and season's greetings to you.
Season greeting to you as well, Bongani, and it's a pleasure to be back here at the studio. Sorry, I couldn't be there physically, but I'm glad that we're able to connect online.
Nonetheless, it's great to have you on the show. You've spoken, Kenny, about ABSA being a purpose-led organization, and I always start with this question to any leader that I speak to about corporates that care: why are you a corporate that cares?
I mean, I think that any corporate that does not recognize that it has a role to play in the overall development of society, and that everything that we do must have an impact, a positive one, on the development of our own economies, our own countries, as well as our own people. At the end of the day, we are able to succeed and grow as a corporate if we've got customers that are also able to grow and succeed. So there's an interdependent, and it's a must do, not a nice to do or something that we do simply because we think we have to contribute to social development. But I think it is a must do. It is in the interest of business, in the interest of the growth of our economies, and ultimately it is in the interest of our own customers that we should do so.
I mentioned your purpose-driven approach. I'd imagine corporate citizenship then is central to that strategy. What does that mean to you personally?
I think for me, I've spent my entire sort of young life and a significant portion of my adult life always thinking about what legacy do I want to leave behind. And leaving a legacy means you have to do things that are significant, that are meaningful. There's a lot of things that we can do that give us short-term benefits, but at the end of the day, those benefits will evaporate with time and would not leave a lasting legacy. So there's absolute alignment with regard to my own values and my own passion point. And I think ABSA offers that platform, which is why the purpose of ABSA of saying we want to build Africa's tomorrow one story at a time actually makes a lot of sense, because it is the little things that we do on a day-to-day basis. It is the impact that we make to that particular individual, to one city, to one country, that if you add those things cumulatively over a period of time, then suddenly you realize how much change and difference we would have made.
I don't have to explain to you the flight of many a business, a corporate from the Johannesburg CBD when you think of what it used to be in its heyday. So can you give us a snapshot of where we are in terms of the Jozi My Jozi initiative and why you as ABSA are bucking that trend and choosing to invest in the Joburg CBD?
I think the first is to commend the work that has been done by Jozi My Jozi, and some of the corporates and business leaders were involved in that initiative. I mean, they have been driving this thing through thick and thin, and I think we need to acknowledge and commend that. We are proud as ABSA to be associated with this initiative. There's a lot of ground that has been covered in aligning various stakeholders behind the revitalization of Johannesburg, a lot of work that has been put into cleaning, reviving the Mandela Bridge, sorting out the street lights. Not all the street lights have been sorted out, by the way, but there's a lot of work and progress that's being done in that regard. There's an initiative for corporates to adopt a traffic light so that if the overall grid of the city is down, we're able to use our own backup electricity services to ensure that the street lights continue to sort of function. There's also a huge amount of work that's being put into cleaning the city, and we're encouraging our own staff members to volunteer and participate in those cleanup operations, not as a once-off event, but as an ongoing effort that seeks to ensure that we keep Johannesburg clean, that we're able to revitalize so that the city can focus on fixing core infrastructure issues whilst we are able to contribute and play a part in dealing with those issues that can be dealt with by private citizens as well as corporate. At the end of the day, we have to create an environment that is safe to work in, safe to live in, and safe to walk the streets. And that will attract then residents to come back into the CBD. It will make the CBD of Johannesburg a place where people want to be and a place where people are able to have a much more fuller work and social lives. At the moment, unfortunately, our staff members go there to work, but they complain about safety. They complain about the ability to do other things like simple groceries, simple task of going to a dentist and so on. Clearly, unless we're able to create an environment that can accommodate all of those things, the dream of revitalizing Johannesburg would not really materialize.
I mean, what I'm getting a sense out of what you're saying there is that partnerships are key. The private sector can play its role. I imagine local government can play its role, and everybody coming together, including citizens, to make a difference on the ground. Are there any visible changes that you can point to because of these revitalization efforts?
Absolutely. I mean, if one looks at the Anglo-American precinct, there's a lot of good work that has been done, with Anglo also making available some of its buildings to local entrepreneurs and SMMEs who now use the space to produce a lot of meaningful things and are able to showcase their products at specific events that are arranged for that purpose. A lot of investment that have been made in sorting out street lights. We funded the repair of the street lights along the Mandela Bridge, as well as just the repainting and cleaning up of that. That's a visible impact that has been made. We organize Run Your City, which is Run My City. And last year we brought about 14,000 runners into the Johannesburg CBD. Whilst it is an event, prior to the event, there's a lot of preparation, including patching of potholes, cleaning of the streets, sorting out of street lights, and so on. So the more of these smaller interventions we can have, the better it will be, because cumulatively, the impact of patching potholes, cleaning the city, fixing the street lights, dealing with buildings that have been hijacked and invaded, and making sure that the environment is conducive to people having a sense of safety, of ability to do and undertake a whole range of their social needs, makes a massive difference in the ultimate goal of revitalizing of Johannesburg. The area around our own precinct as the upside in the CBD, I think has improved somehow. It is not where we want it to be. When I had to walk with the mayor last year, there was sort of water running down the streets, big holes in the middle of some of the major roads within the city, like Moy Street and so on. They were able to attend to some of those challenges. But patching potholes, sorting out water leakages is not enough. Ultimately, we want to see the overall revitalization and reinvestment into the CBD. But no sound investor will invest in an area that is unsafe and in an area that is characterized by crime. So we have to remove these negative factors that are discouraging people from coming back into CBD and from investing. And I think some headway has been made in that regard. But it can be a once-off exercise. It must be sustained and done on a continual basis. And we're committed to partnering the city and partnering other corporates through Jozi Majozi to ensure that those ideals can actually be realized.
I'd imagine then over the next 5 years, you want to grow this momentum and continue focusing on community projects like Jozi Majozi and the revitalization of Johannesburg.
Absolutely, which is why we are encouraging our own sort of employees to prioritize, participation and involvement in things that have a social impact. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's adopting a crèche next to your neighborhood or identifying kids who have passed their matrics and require a bit of funding to go to university. All of us, individually and collectively through organizations and corporates, can make a huge difference. And we shouldn't see that as doing someone else a favor. It is about making a contribution that can transform lives of many people, transform economies, and ultimately create conducive conditions for our own corporates to grow and for our own economy to be sustained over a longer period of time. I think it is a must-do, and it is for that reason that AFSA is committed to partnering with all relevant role players in ensuring that we contribute meaningfully towards delivering social impact in all the areas and in all the countries where we operate.
Kenny Fitla, Group CEO of APSA, another corporate that cares.
Join us.
Let's walk the talk.
This is 702.
And that brings us to the end of this edition of 702 Breakfast. It is 9 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. While some parents and pupils celebrate the milestone of their first day of school, frustrated parents that are desperate to find placement for their children have lined up in long queues outside district offices. About 3,000 grade 1 and 8 pupils have not been placed at a school in Gauteng. This as the province struggles with an overburdened system with more than children than places available. Modisa reports.
What was meant to be a sentimental milestone moment for parents and their children has been doused by administrative failures, which have resulted in some pupils not being placed at schools on the first day